Hello and welcome to the NBA Draft Live Show over here on the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Bryce Simon is here with me. Bryce, we're here. It's the NBA Draft. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been waiting for this for a couple weeks now. I am ready for the actual picks to be made. No more mock drafts, no more speculation, no more this guy visited here but didn't visit there. We just get to hear what these picks are. I know some of them could be traded later on and all of that. Like, I understand all of those things, but it's been we say a year's worth of work, Sam, but you and I both know that it goes well beyond a year on a lot of these prospects. We've been watching AJ Dybantsa since he was a sophomore in high school. Cam Boozer the same way. A lot of these guys that will be drafted tonight, especially you get into some of the older prospects. We've been scouting them for multiple years, whether through college or whatever their path was. So it's just really cool to see that all to come together. And no matter what we say about a selection tonight or where a player was picked or too high, too low, whatever, how cool is it for all of these players and their families and those around them that they are entering the NBA here on Tuesday, June 23rd. So shout out to all of them first and foremost for the work they put in and what is coming ahead for them in their lives and their basketball careers.
No question. It's an amazing day. It's an amazing day for the players first and foremost. They get to experience a dream that they've had from the time that they were children. It's an amazing day for evaluators and general managers who get to make these picks and get to make these dreams come true on some level for these players. It's an amazing day for families. I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm really excited just to kind of talk through everything that could happen. But before we get into the draft stuff, and I'm getting told that I'm a little bit low volume wise, we'll handle that in a second. I want to ask you, what was your impression of the Giannis Antetokounmpo deal? Because Andrew Claudio and I went live last night. If you have not watched Andrew and I's live show where we talked about the Giannis deal, we went for like an hour and a half. Go watch that. Go listen to it, whatever you do on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button while you're here on YouTube for the live show. Hit the subscribe button over on the Substack, etc., everything. But Bryce, what was your take on the Giannis deal?
So I was asleep when the Giannis deal happened, and listen, I'm sure GMAC held it down and it was perfectly fine and all of that, but that's why I was not there on the live show, as I had already fallen asleep. I legitimately woke up to the Giannis news and 27 text messages in our Game Theory group chat as you and GMAC decided all of those little, how you were going to go live and all of that. So I guess it ended up being about what we thought it was going to be, right? I think I had thought maybe they would do the 4 first-round picks, ended up being 3 and a swap and a second rounder, so getting close to that same value. It pretty much was the players we thought, other than Bobby Portis also going back to Miami, which I don't think is something to not bring up. I realize Giannis is the most important name in all of this, but when you talk about that Miami Heat depth, and that roster, which is often a big conversation when a trade like this happens, them getting Bobby Portis as part of that, I think, was important. So ultimately, I think the trade was fine for Milwaukee, is how I've said it to people. It's not super exciting because I can't point to the one player or draft asset that I just say, this is a home run. I'm super excited about that. That's what leaves it at fine for me.
I think I would agree with you on that. I will say that, the big thing that I took away from this is I think Miami is going to be really good next year. I get it that people are a little bit worried about the offensive side and a little bit worried about the depth. I actually think the depth is going to be okay. We'll talk about Miami a little bit more later on. In the offseason, maybe next week. The Bucks getting as much as they did is about as good as they could have done given the circumstances. Ultimately, they should have traded him last year. We said that last summer. They should have traded him last summer. There would be more suitors. There would be more teams that were interested. And there would be more teams that I think would have said, you know what, maybe he's not willing to sign an extension with us, but we get 2 years with him to try to go for it. right? And the problem is that when you have 1 year left, the extension really does come into play in that circumstance. So I think it took some teams out of the running, and that made it difficult. For the Bucks, I think they did probably as well as they could have done given that sunk cost. But ultimately, I think that they'll probably rue that they did not move him a little bit earlier. Okay. The next thing that we need to talk about is the fallout of Boston not winning the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. So Jaylen Brown, according to Shams Charania, is apparently somewhat available, it feels like. The Celtics are at least like willing to engage with teams, right? I'm intrigued by that. I'm very intrigued by that. I don't know what to make of it. You know, I've talked a lot about maybe not you, about the fact that I felt like cashing in on him off of this season was not a terrible idea. And I'm intrigued to see if they go down that road or if they decide to hold steady, because Shams is kind of like middling it a little bit in terms of what he says. Like they could keep him, but they're listening. You know what I mean?
I think the thing with Jaylen Brown, and I'm not saying it's obviously a trade that can happen or there's ways to make, but he does. One thing I immediately bring up with him is the $57 million. Like that does quickly. You have to find the right teams that can hit that number, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So like that he does have a very big cap hit this upcoming season where making sure a team has those assets or you bring in the third team to take it, like whatever you have to do. So that is always, I think, something to consider whenever you're talking about a player like Jaylen Brown with the cap number he has. My other thing with Jaylen Brown is, and listen, I don't mean to turn it to Detroit, but I was asked about it on the Detroit radio spot was, what do you think about him with Cade Cunningham? And my answer was, and I think this is just big picture with Jaylen Brown in general, is does he want to go somewhere where he's not going to be the guy? Like, is that part of all of this is he wants to go somewhere where I'm asking, I'm not saying, or I'm wondering if he's going to be happier going to a place where this is Jaylen Brown's team and there's no questions about it, right? Because then that also limits the amount of teams, because there's just teams where he would get traded to and it's not going to be his team. It's either going to be somebody else's team or a similar situation to what he felt like in Boston with Jason Tatum. I don't know how important that is to Jaylen Brown, but I do wonder if maybe that is a factor in terms of where he would like to go and the teams that maybe would be interested in bringing him in.
Well, the issue there is, again, kind of going back to what we said with the Giannis thing, or at least what I just said, is that Jaylen Brown just has a number of years left on his contract. Like he has 3 fully guaranteed years left on his deal, no player option or anything. I don't know that he's going to have a whole lot of say here in where he goes. Now, like, I don't think a team's going to want to acquire him. Like the Bucks, for instance, Kevin O'Connor reported that Jimmy Haslam didn't want to have a guy who maybe didn't want to be there, right? Yeah. On the team. And I do think there is something to that, but some owners are just going to be more willing to take that risk at the end of the day. And with 3 years left, I know he's extension eligible. I would imagine that like he's going to want an extension this summer too, because everyone wants that extension. There's just no way I'm giving him that extension this summer. It's very interesting. It's an interesting situation. The other interesting situation here before we get into some draft questions while teams get on the clock is Micah Nori took a 1-year deal to be the Portland Trailblazers head coach. Like what that was like, put it this way, there are some people that are stunned by that. And people really like Micah Nori first and foremost. So I think there are a lot of people in the industry that are very excited for Micah Nori to get this opportunity because he's very well regarded and he's very well liked. A name that's
been coming up, Sam, right? Like it's not like this was out of nowhere that he got a head coaching job. This is a name for the past couple years that when you talked about assistants who might be in play to get head coaching jobs, Micah Nori is a name that would frequently be brought up. So it's not a surprise he got a head coaching job. It's a surprise that he took the contract.
It's essentially like a 1+1+1 deal is what it is. So I don't know. I would imagine there are a lot of coaches that are a bit frustrated by that decision that he did this because it sets an interesting precedent. It's more like European style basketball, frankly. I would imagine that there are some agents that are frustrated with this, that his representation agreed to it. But Micah Nori is in his 50s and wanted this opportunity. You know what I mean? So I do get it on that front. And on top of that, like they haven't really brought up anything recently with Chauncey Billups. I can't imagine Chauncey Billups is ever going to coach the Portland Trailblazers again. But like, I think in theory, he's still employed, even if he's like suspended or on leave or whatever it is. So it's a very interesting situation. I hope he's successful. You and I love that Blazers team. We have so much fun with that Blazers team. It's just like, man, I'm real worried about what's going on there because it felt like a very concerted effort to me from Tom Dundon to wait until there was nobody left on the market, no coaching jobs left on the market, where he was the only option, to then do this and like be able to leverage the hell out of his candidates and just see who took it. Right.
We knew this was coming, right? Like this is one of these situations where, I guess reputation of how he's been an owner for other teams in other leagues is showing up in this ownership of the Portland Trailblazers, right? Like it's playing out in a lot of ways. And I'm not going to pretend to know exactly how he did things with his other organizations in those other leagues, but as soon as he became owner of the team, all the stories came out about like he'll do things a little bit different and cutting costs and these different things. And we've seen it, at first it was the travel and then the amount of staff. This is the first one where I would say like truly, that's probably not fair because like they didn't travel two-way guys. So that's like on-court personnel type players. But he just is going to do things differently, right? And that's what we heard. Yeah. Sometimes I hesitate to fully buy into that until we see it. And now we have 2 or 3 different examples in different parts of the organization, right? Like it seemed like support staff, scouts, whatever, that stuff happened. Then the travel stuff happened. And then now how they went about the head coaching search and hire is very different than, I don't always follow this closely, Sam, but this has to be something we haven't seen for a while in the NBA, right? In terms of an off-season hire, this type of contract. So it does make me wonder how we're going to see when is it going to apply to the roster, I guess is my thing. Like what kind of unique situations and things happen now around the roster with him as the owner?
So look, as somebody who pays attention to the NHL, like mostly just the Penguins, but like knows what's going on in the NHL by and large, people generally like really think he does a good job. Like he's going to come in and kind of slash some stuff, but in terms of building a team, he just won the Stanley Cup, right? Like played a huge role in the Carolina Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup as the owner.
I honestly don't know. Is that who won the Stanley Cup?
That's his team won the Stanley Cup. So that is the reality.
Cool.
So yeah, it's interesting, man. It's very, very interesting to see where it's going to go. Let's answer some of your questions about the NBA draft here. I saw one earlier about Yaxel Lendeborg. Is Yaxel Lendeborg going to fall, basically, is the question. Do you feel like rumors of Yax falling out of the lottery will come true? My read is that his first spot is 11 in all likelihood with Golden State. I think he could go to Golden State. Beyond that, there are fewer teams for him in the lottery than what you would expect, I think is the way to put it. Yeah, I mean, I think that his range is something like 11 to 20. Like it's somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe the Spurs would take him, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know, but it feels like somewhere like in that range right now. And I wrote that in the last mock draft I did. That look, I have him at 11. If Burries falls, I think that he probably does not go 11. But yeah, I think at the very least he's like in the mix there. Any other questions here before we go? Will New Orleans trade up with Milwaukee for Ament? I don't know. Like New Orleans could do anything to me. Like
that's good. That's not and by the way, that's not a trade up. That's a trade in, which takes more value to do than moving up. So that would be quite interesting. I have a question, Sam.
Sure.
I think last year we did Twitter. How are we deciding when we start talking about the selection? I don't have the broadcast on anywhere. I don't have the comments on. I kind of just rely on you, but out of curiosity for our viewers.
I have the broadcast on. I'm pretty happy to do it either way. I think I'm happy with either, to be honest. I think that we will probably get people spoiling picks here and there. Like, I can't imagine that Jake is not going to spoil picks. Shams, Shams typically does it most years. I'm open to either. I have it up if we want to wait. I've got Caleb Wilson on the screen right now. I've got Darius Acuff on the screen right now. Like, I'm fine with doing either or.
I'm fine as well. I was just curious because I will not have I won't open Twitter or Blue Sky if we're going off the broadcasts. That way it doesn't get spoiled. But if we're just gonna wait for Shams or whoever to, give the pick, then I will do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I know people get frustrated by that. That like, look, it's really 50-50. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some people really like it when we do the spoilers. Some people don't, right? I'm going to be honest. I feel like people get really mad about the spoilers. So I think we look, I'm looking in the comments right now to try to figure it out. It's really split between this. So
the comments are probably going to spoil it anyway.
Yeah. I think that we probably go with, when we find out who's going where, we just go with it.
Okay. That works for me.
So with Shams, I think it's going to be really hard on like an online show to make it so that it's like this. Yeah. I mean, like, we're getting a lot of comments on it. It is genuinely like very split on this. Like, everyone is like, hey, here you go, up and down, yes, spoilers, do spoilers, no spoilers. Someone wants us to also spoil famous movies and make everyone mad. So,
well, the problem with that is I've never watched most of those movies, so they would be spoiled for me as well. To change the subject back to not draft, but something that closely applies. NCAA stuff came down today. Your thoughts on that? I don't know how much we've talked on the 5-year rule. 5 and 5. What is it when you enter college or the calendar year after your 19th birthday? Like, sounds like this is probably going to be implemented. So I was curious what your thoughts on that were.
I think that having some sort of rule here is good, and I think that making it as simple as possible is really good. Do we know what happens with like injuries with the 5 and 5?
My understanding is
year, or is
my understanding
done?
is not. My understanding is you get 5 years, and whatever happens. You get 5 years to play those. And the only I read the thing, and the only thing I saw was the military and religious stuff or whatever, like those are the waivers or whatever you want to say, which I think those things are already in. I didn't see anything about like medical red shirts or anything like that, so my understanding is no.
Yeah. Okay.
You know who it hurts? Somebody brought this up to me real quick. I think it hurts junior colleges compared to post-grad preps, or like because those your clock's going to start while you're when you're at junior college now.
Does it start at the NAIA level as well, or only junior college?
Interesting.
Because I know that was a point of conversation a couple years ago as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm in favor of simplifying this as much as possible at the end of the day. Like, let's simplify it as much as possible. You get 5 and 5. I don't know how they're going to deal with the European stuff yet. So we'll figure that out as well.
People I've talked to about that one is all over the place. So,
yeah. So I don't know. We shall see. I like it in general. Like, as an idea, it seems like a good idea. It's just, we'll have to figure it out. Okay.
Are the Wizards on the clock yet?
The Wizards are on the clock.
Okay.
AJ Dybantsa is smiling. Everyone there seems very happy. You know, it's really fun, right? I don't think we have a spoiler yet on who's going number 1, which is nice. So we will find out what's going to happen here.
Has anything changed for you? I mean, we have both stayed pretty much AJ Dybantsa here. Anything different for you between last night and today?
No, I would still take Dybantsa. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah,
I would take AJ. I mean, I will say this, like, it looks like, you know, we got Cal behind AJ on the phone. Calipari just talking it up. It looks like they haven't informed these guys. I will say that. At the very least, I don't know what's happening here, but we'll find out. We will find out here momentarily. Look, the reason I would go with AJ is, you know, look, this is a team last year was 27th in free throw rate, 25th in average shot distance from 2-point range. They were 30th in defensive rebounding rate. Like, these are all the things that AJ Dybantsa helps at the end of the day, right? And if you think that with your core that Darryn Peterson is just the best player at the end of the day, whatever, I get it. But I think it's Dybantsa. I think Dybantsa is the better player and better fit with the core.
I've been pretty much the same throughout the entire cycle, I guess, on AJ Dybantsa. He came in as my number 1. He stayed number 1. You know, I've kind of switched between, do I have him in a slight tier above, you know what, like it would be the slightest. Like, the best way I can say it is, for me, even before lottery night, I would have picked him number 1, no matter who got the pick. Like, for me, he was number 1 pick for all 30 teams if they all had an equal chance at getting the number 1 pick. With that said, I don't think it's like a massive gap at all between him and, I actually have Cam Boozer number 2. We'll talk more about that as we go throughout the picks. Darryn Peterson 3. They're all very, very close. This is something you've talked about as well. But my biggest argument, like my easiest argument for AJ Dybantsa is, it's not just that he's 6'9" in shoes with a 7-foot wingspan and the athleticism and all that. It's also production. Like, this isn't one of those like, oh, look at all of the physical tools and what he might be. He went out there and produced as a freshman in the Big 12 at BYU, and he scored the basketball. He rebounded the basketball. To your point, he pressured the rim and got to the free throw line. And so for me, it's just a great mix of, this is the type of player that every NBA team is looking for in terms of the wing and the size and the potential ceiling, along with production that we've already seen at the collegiate level. And so that's why I've kept him number 1 all year for me. Yeah.
So I am somebody that thinks that these guys are close. And if you think one fits better than the other one, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it makes total sense to just say, hey, this guy fits better than the other guy. You know, we think that we need defensive rebounding and rim pressure and everything. Let's go with Dybantsa. No, we actually think we need a second ball handler. Like, if I was the Utah Jazz, I have Darryn Peterson at number 3. I think I would take Darryn Peterson if I was the Utah Jazz at number 1. If I was the Memphis Grizzlies, I'd probably take Cam Boozer. It'd be close. I might take Dybantsa, but like, it'd be really, really close. If I was the Bulls, I would probably take Dybantsa at the end of the day. But like, there are different situations and different like teams that these guys are going to get drafted into. We've got Adam Silver on the screen right now. The Washington Wizards have selected AJ Dybantsa at number 1. It is official. It has happened. What I and many others predicted since lottery night has come to fruition. AJ Dybantsa is the number 1 overall pick. Bryce, what makes AJ Dybantsa such a special player?
Yeah, I mean, the size for first and foremost, right? The ability to move the way he does with his height, his length, the athleticism, the ground coverage, all of that. He can operate in the mid-range and looks very comfortable there. We've also mentioned, though, he's able to get to the rim, get to the free throw line. The mid-range bag is full. Like, he has all of that stuff and the different footworks and all of that. What I really like about him is the passing, though, as well. And you may look at the assist to turnover numbers and maybe that's not impressive, but every time I would watch him play, and I think you'll make this point as well, it got better throughout the season also. And I think he's aware of secondary defenders and navigates them, can do some ball screen stuff. The handle definitely has to get tighter. The jumper has to continue to improve. I agree with all of that. He can make an impact on the rebounds or on the boards, excuse me. Defensively, it's much more theoretical than practical. He opens his hips. He'll go for shot fakes. He gets turned around off the ball. Would love to see more disruption. I do think he has some level of awareness because I see him communicating, but the defense will have some real room to grow.
Yeah. So, okay. With AJ, the big thing for me is like it's rim pressure, and he creates the easiest shots in the draft. He creates shots at the rim and he creates shots at the foul line. Dybantsa this past season took 8.5 free throw attempts per game. He also took over 5 shots at the rim per game in half court settings per synergy. So he made 59.2% of his shots at the rim. Most of those were self-created, which makes that a pretty strong number. Made 70% of his shots at the rim at under 19s in the FIBA tournament he played in the summer beforehand. Made 69% of his shots at the rim during his senior year at Utah Prep in half-court settings. I think he is just a monster playing through contact, and I think that his ability to get downhill is really going to play up in the NBA when we start to get even bigger driving lanes, right? I really think it's going to be quite effective at that level. His jumper, look, he made 33% of his threes this year. He took 4.2 3-point attempts per game, made 36% of them off of pull-ups. I actually think the jumper looks a little bit better off of the pull-up because he really gets his legs underneath him and like really, transitions his weight really well from his lower half to his upper half, and the ball doesn't flatten out quite as much. Defensively, it can be a little bit messy, right? Like if you give him an assignment, I think he's quite good with that assignment. Like you go and you watch the Iowa State game. He just chased around Milan Momcilovic and made his life absolutely miserable. It's a guy who averaged 18 points a game this year. If it's more of he has to read and react to what's happening around him all the time, it can be a little bit tricky, I think. But in general, you called out the passing ability. I'm so glad you called that out. I think that's exactly right. It improved so much this year. He averaged nearly 5 assists per game after Richie Saunders got injured with his torn ACL this year. You really saw him take more of that creation load on. And frankly, he did it in the biggest spots as well. Like you go back and you watch his NCAA tournament game against Texas. You go back and you watch the Big 12 tournament. Man, like he wanted the ball and he dominated in a significant way. I felt like I was really, really impressed with him. And people will bring up like, oh, could he end up being Andrew Wiggins? He's just way more aggressive than Andrew Wiggins ever was. Could he be Rudy Gay? He's just way more aggressive than what Rudy Gay was as a driver and as a finisher. Like he is tenacious going to the rim. So, we talked about what the fit with Washington would be. I think absolutely it's a circumstance where the rim pressure with this core of Alex Sarr at center, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, Bub Carrington, certainly Trey Young and Anthony Davis, like none of those guys are absolutely incredible with rim pressure. Even Sarr for a center, right? He's not a crazy rim pressure guy, right? I think that AJ being here is a massive, massive, massive benefit to them because he fills the gap with what they need.
Yeah, I love it. I love it for the Washington Wizards. I think this is exactly what they needed in terms of, I know Wizards fans have been looking for like that superstar, right, in the draft, and some haven't been able to come up with it yet, even though they've come up with some really good players. Tonight's not the night to talk about the Trae Young, Anthony Davis stuff. In my opinion, to me, Washington, like, this is the guy that they've been waiting for in terms of that face of your franchise, that number one option, all of that stuff. And here is the nice thing. He doesn't have to be that right away, right? They have a roster now with vets and all of that where you're not going to work him in super slow, right? Like, this is the number one pick. You want him to come in and start and, take a ton of usage, but it's not just going to be all thrown on his shoulders. He's going to be able to work into that a little bit. He's not going to have to carry that all, and he's going to play in competitive basketball games as a rookie, because this team is going to be, when I say good, I don't mean they're going to be top 4 in the East or something like that, but I think this team is, at least a play-in team in the Eastern Conference if they can have some relative health. And that's competitive games night in and night out for AJ Dybantsa, which I think is going to be awesome for him.
We have the number 2 overall pick. It is Darryn Peterson going to the Utah Jazz. 2 for 2, again, in terms of what was predicted, basically since lottery night. Okay, Darryn Peterson. What makes him so special is the scoring ability at the end of the day. He is a genuinely elite level scorer. He's more of like a twitchy, fluid athlete than somebody who's going to like rise up and like slam on you and like really dunk, right? But I really think that his blend of athleticism and shot making is really just impressive. Like, you watch the way that he's able to handle the ball, kind of counter defenders with all these crazy herky-jerky actions, and then on top of it, he has these nasty little inside-out dribbles, these hang dribbles that he uses to be able to get into his shot, right? And the shot is what makes him so lethal. If you look at the percentages this year at Kansas, just totally ridiculous, right? He was a monster three-point shooter, prolific prep, 42% on his pull-up threes. This year, 47.7% on his catch-and-shoot threes per synergy. Kansas ran him off sort of all off-ball actions, and he was able to just rise and fire with a lightning quick release. Like, it is just really easy to watch him and just go, man, this guy's going to be a 25 point per game scorer at the NBA level. I am a big Darryn Peterson fan.
Yeah, the jumper is very, very smooth. I think he has a quicker first step and stuff like off his shot fake and off his dribble than what I was giving him credit for. When I went back and did my best game series, that was something that I kind of realized that maybe I wasn't giving him enough credit for that. He can play with deceleration. He plays with nice pace. Like, he'll put the defender on his back and then put the 2-on-1 situation in conflict. I want to bring up the passing. I'm probably a touch lower than you on him, like being a point guard. And I know that a lot of that goes back to the high school film and all that. But what I will say, just in general, in that singular game, multiple ball screen reps, he was generating great looks for his teammates. Teammate missed one. There was a foul call on one. And then his teammate had a bad short roll on another one. Now, you could do this with a lot of players, but I just wanted to bring that up because I know the assist numbers will come up with him and like, can he pass it all and all that? I don't think he's a point guard, but I think he's a better passer than maybe what just the raw assist numbers would show. And I did think he was able to show that.
I think he's probably not like a true lead guard, but I think he's probably a capable ball handler at the end of the day. Think of like the way that like Donovan Mitchell runs point sometimes is more like what I'm envisioning with Darryn Peterson.
The name I like is Devin Booker. Like, Devin Booker's the archetype, the name, the whatever that I've kind of locked in on and kind of have stuck with.
And for me, that really works because this Utah Jazz team has Keontae George, who took a big step forward. They have all of this front court help. This is exactly what they needed to me. They needed a guy who can come in and be like a primary/secondary ball handler at times and be able to shoot and knock down shots off the dribble and open up space for these guys. And on top of that, create shots from time to time when Keontae George doesn't have it, right? He is going to be absolutely lethal, I think, within that Will Hardy offense. Like Will Hardy is going to run him off of so many fun actions in Utah that are going to get him loose. Just the amount of space in the shooting they're going to have, man, it's going to be really, really fun. That Utah team, again, I've said it before, I will say it again. I absolutely think that Utah team is like a potential playoff team, not just a play-in team.
He was 53% on spot up threes, but I think the number that's more interesting, it's only 34 attempts, but he was 38% on 34 3-point attempts off screen this last year. He was 8-17, again, small sample, but 47% on handoffs. Like, I just think he's a guy that, to your point, Will Hardy can use in a bunch of different ways. And I think that jumper translates to all of those play types, right? Like, I understand the volume may not be there. I just believe in the jumper. I don't know if we have the pick yet, but I am curious on your defense, right? Like, really good wingspan here, 6'5" in shoes. I think I'm a little lower on the defense. I see some people call him like a really good defender. I don't know that I think I think he has active hands on and off the ball. I think he can definitely be impactful, but am I a little bit too low on the defense? Are you a little bit higher than that than I am?
Yeah, look, like so much of this is hard. Like I thought he really competed in high school, and I thought he was like a better defender in high school than what we saw at Kansas. Part of this is like he didn't have a whole lot of synergy with his teammates, it felt like at Kansas, and at Kansas as well, I want to say. It was really challenging because he was in and out of the lineup, and they also didn't give him much space to operate on offense either, right? Like this team structure was not great around him. Like they played two bigs constantly, one of whom could sort of shoot in Bryson Tiller, but not really. Like he didn't get guarded out there. Trey White, Melvin Council, not guys that really got guarded from three, even though Trey White made 40% of his threes. So it's a really, really tricky like spot here to evaluate him, because I think that when you go and watch the high school tape, it's almost like a totally different player, where you can see him on the ball, creating a little bit more consistently out of ball screens. And defensively, you see him compete a little bit more, but it just was a little bit more challenging, I think, for him at Kansas, and in part because of the fact that he was in and out of the lineup. We've got Adam Silver at the podium. He just announced Cam Boozer at number 3. Again, we're 3 for 3, going the way that this is supposed to go. Cam Boozer, I would be stunned if Zach Kleiman doesn't come out and say that they had Cam Boozer at number 1 on their board. He fits everything that the Memphis Grizzlies have wanted and evaluate in the way that they evaluate prospects. He's remarkably productive. He is somebody that is a true like winner. He's a competitor. He is super smart. He is somebody that you want to build an organization around. Like this is, look, I had Cam Boozer at number 2. I think these guys could have gone in any order, frankly. But I think for the Grizzlies, next to Zach Edey, next to some of the shooters that they have in the backcourt, Boozer's going to be highly, highly, highly effective.
I want to emphasize one more time, I have no questions whatsoever about Cam Boozer and Zach Edey playing together offensively. Defensively, we can have some conversations. Like we can have, and that's more of just like Cam Boozer at the 4 chasing potential matchups around the perimeter. Like that's always going to be a thing no matter where he gets picked. I love him and Zach Edey together offensively because I believe in Cam Boozer's skill level on the offensive end. If you simply need him to space on the weak side corner so that Ty Jerome and Zach Edey can run a middle ball screen, he can do that. He is skilled enough to catch and shoot the 3. He is skilled enough to attack the closeout. He's skilled enough to take 2 dribbles, draw the next advantage, and then kick it out, whatever you need him to do. But what makes him special is, you need him to run the ball screen with Ty Jerome, with Zach Edey in the dunker spot, and then he hits the short roll lob. He can do that while hitting the short roll floater. And then know what's really going to be fun? The first time they run the Cam Boozer, Zach Edey ball screen together, because Cam Boozer has the ability to do that. Or the Cam Boozer, you mentioned this the other day, the Cam Boozer whoever ghost act, Cam Boozer, Cam Spencer, I think is what you said the other day, right? The Cam Boozer.
I will pull it immediately and put it on Twitter. As soon as as soon as it happens, I'll be like, yep, that's what I needed. That's my dream scenario in the NBA right now.
45 minutes of it. 45 minutes talking about it on Game Theory after opening night for the Memphis Grizzlies. I just hope we see it at Summer League. It won't be Cam Spencer. It'll be somebody else on the roster, but we're going to see it at Summer League at some point. So I love this offensively. I think Boozer's awesome. I have a few questions defensively. Again, playing the 4. I don't think he's a 5. He can do some small ball 5 stuff. That's more of my thing there. But he's to so me, talented.
Like, that's why it's important to have a rim protector next to him. He was so much more effective as a player when he had the rim protector in Patrick Gungba next to him versus when he had Malik Brown next to him, just flying around everywhere on defense. Man, Carlos Boozer just cannot stop cheesing and smiling right now. Like, he is so proud of his son. This is amazing. The key with Boozer is kind of what you said. It's this duo of he's an elite processor of the game. Like, he thinks the game faster than everybody else on the court, on top of being this multi-skilled player, right? Where he is somebody that can run ball screens as a ball handler. He can run ball screens as a screener. He can play in spot ups. He can attack closeouts out of spot ups. He can like post up guys in mismatches. He can post up guys in non-mismatches. Like, his footwork is absolutely elite. Like, there are just so many different ways. All of this leads to the fact there's so many different ways that he can kill you.
Yeah.
Right. That's really it. He has 45 different ways to kill you. And that's what makes him so special as a player. And defensively, I'm somewhat worried about him having to like go out and like deal with screens and switches and things like that. Like, he does lumber a little bit from time to time, right? And you can't really play him at the 5 because he's not vertical enough to really defend at the 5, right? But I don't know. Like, I am someone who actually believes in him defensively because he communicates so well. He talks so well on defense. He's somebody who can really, really just be effective out there through knowing where to be with his positioning, right? You hope that they don't run into some team in the playoffs at some point that can just like really space them out and cause them all sorts of problems. And it's possible that in a playoff setting that Zach Edey might not be the best option next to him. And you might have to go get like a rim protector who can space. Maybe it could be Edey that's the rim protector who spaces at some point and shoots it, right? But man, this is a home run for me. Like, if I was Memphis, I would have probably taken Cam Boozer at number 1.
I would not have. I would still have Dybantsa. Like, this is probably where we're slightly different. Like I said, I would have had Dybantsa number 1 for, any team. I will also say defensively, I think he has very active and accurate hands and really good timing. Yeah. And I think that's an important, like, I've learned to really appreciate that. I'm not making a comp here. Please, nobody think that that's what I'm doing here. But watching Tobias Harris survive at his age at the 4 in the NBA, because he's able to just be in the right position, be physical, and then have active and accurate hands, which go down as blocks in the NBA, but essentially he's digging it away before the ball gets above the offensive player's shoulders. I could see Cam Boozer doing some of those things. A couple more things offensively. I think he's a good screen setter. He understands position offensively, which is going to work because he's going to seal and get position. He's going to get offensive rebound position, and he uses his shot fake really, really well, which is going to be effective on the perimeter, but he also does a really nice job of it in the paint that allows him to get the angles he wants to finish as a quote unquote below the rim finisher, which is going to be very important for him as well. So just a couple other nuanced things I wanted to mention offensively.
Caleb Wilson has been selected as the number 4 overall pick to the Chicago Bulls. So 4 for 4 in terms of everything that's been anticipated and expected so far. And now we're at 5 and we'll see what happens. But what makes Caleb Wilson such a special player for the Chicago Bulls?
So I think it starts with him, with the length and the athleticism, as we've talked about multiple times. New decision maker there, Bryson Grant. Like, this is what he likes in terms of, or I guess this is what he's brought up in terms of what they value there. Puts pressure on the rim, getting to the free throw line a lot. We saw some really good shot making and scoring in the mid-range, those 7.5 free throw attempts per game. Obviously, the three-point jumper is going to have to come around. People may like, why AJ Dybantsa over Caleb Wilson? I like Caleb Wilson's passing is a little bit more interesting to me. I think he is a structured passer more than a read and react or flow of the game passer. Like, I'm attacking you. Here comes the help. Okay, what's my read? He has some really good passes when him and Henri Vesar are just running high lows or back screen actions or whatever. Defensively, a whole lot of potential that is not at all realized in my opinion right now. Like, yes, there are some defensive disruption things that look really good, but I mean, he has recovery ability and all of that, but he is going to have to improve defensively. But I like this fit in Chicago. I like this fit with Modest Bezelis and Josh Giddey. Now Nick Claxton at the center position for the Bulls. This was absolutely a no-brainer at number 4 to me.
It's a no-brainer at number 4. His athletic upside is just absolutely massive. His ceiling is as high as the guys that got taken in the top 3, in my opinion. If it all comes together, he has a chance to be like a slightly smaller, I don't know, is a slightly smaller version of Giannis, like a Pascal Siakam kind of guy. Maybe
I've loved the Pascal Siakam since you brought it up the first time. I'm with the Pascal Siakam. Like, this is the type of player he could end up being. I love everything about it, because I don't think Caleb Wilson probably ends up being the best player on a title contender, but like, is the upside the second best player in the way Pascal Siakam, kind of has that? Yes. And so I love it all around.
I think that's right. Like, he's just a monster athlete and play finisher at the rim. I think that at some point he has a chance to be the best baseline player in the NBA, just running baseline to baseline, dunking above the rim with Josh Giddey, bringing help up, uphill on his drives and pick and roll playmaking opportunities. I think that with Wilson, the key is going to be the shot. Is he able to shoot it? Obviously, he made mid-range jumpers this year. If you look at the numbers, was quite effective in the mid-range this year. I believe that we've got 7.5 free throw attempts per game, which was top 30 in the country and 4th among all high major players this season, 66 dunks this season, and 2nd in the country in dunks per game this season. So just a very above the rim finisher. On top of that, you said like positive moments as a passer. A lot of it is like standstill passes, right? Yes. It's not always passes that are, on the move. He's catching and reading and reacting and everything. They're structured passes, like you said. The key for me is the defense. Like, the defense is what just drives me like a little bit crazy. And I think that that's where he's going to have to improve. Teams really attacked him in ACC play because he doesn't backpedal well. I don't think he walls up as well as you would expect for somebody who is this size. His anticipation and awareness aren't great. He does make some like really impressive instinctual like pokes and things like that. But by and large, the defense is like very tools oriented, and he gets like very upright on the ball and then can like allow this dribble penetration versus being somebody who like really like guards right now. He has a chance to be very good. And the other thing about Caleb Wilson that I will say, and the reason that I am a believer in him, is I think that guy is a killer. I think he's an absolute killer who like is a competitor. And it's worth noting to me that every single time that he went out this year against the top 3 guys, AJ Dybantsa in the preseason, Darryn Peterson early in the season, Cam Boozer later in the season, man, he won. Like, he won that battle. It was absolutely wildly impressive to me.
Yeah, he plays extremely hard. Like, I even have that in my defensive notes from the best game series breakdown. And I guess I'll quickly, let everybody know and remind everybody, go over to the Game Theory Substack. Tons of video breakdowns on all of these picks. You can go over there. You can watch all 10 of the AJ Dybantsa ones, or you can just choose one if you want. But especially these top 4 guys, probably every name that will be selected tonight has at least 1 or 2 video breakdowns over there. So go over the Substack. But in my series that I did late in the year, I think it was a game against Kansas, one of these games that you mentioned, does play extremely hard on the defensive end. But I also mentioned kind of the lack of physicality at different times. And, and it was on and off the ball. I think his point of attack defense, you alluded to this. I don't think the technique is great, even though the physical tools are, the recovery ability is. And then off the ball, like he can just get ball watchy. He can get lost. And, it does really end up, resulting directly in points that he gives up. But he has two really important things. He's willing to play hard, and he has the physical tools to be impactful. And so that gives me hope that eventually it's going to get there with Caleb Wilson. I just don't know that it's going to be super early in his NBA career.
Number 5 overall pick has gone chalk. Keaton Wagler is your choice at number 5 overall. Look, my impression is that this has been the pick for not like a crazy amount of time, but like this has been the expected pick here for a minute with Keaton going to the Los Angeles Clippers. What makes Keaton Wagler special? To me, the reason that he is going number 5, and I would take him number 5 if I was the Clippers. This is the guy I would have drafted here. The easiest way for me to explain it is that he's an elite pull-up shooter, and he uses the threat of that shot better than anybody else in the class. And he does it off of hesitations. He does it off of hang dribbles, off of inside outs, off of all sorts of nasty moves. And when you watch him in those moments where he is inside outing somebody or he's hang dribbling, it feels like he's like a quarterback, like a Patrick Mahomes, or like an escape artist who, like a Caleb Williams, who seems to have all this time in the pocket or all this time out of the pocket, where he has that extra split second. Like Aaron Rodgers used to have this extra split second to be able to hold on to the ball before driving and making that defender make a decision, right? I'm going to commit and I'm going to attack his handle, and then he's going to be able to blow by, or I'm going to hang back and Wagler just fires and pulls up from 3. That is his superpower to me, on top of being an elite level processor of the game. I would say that his processing ability is probably second to only Boozer in this class. The way that he thinks the game is genuinely special.
I think what I like about Wagler is that he showed this ability to play on and off the ball, and not only play on the ball at a certain point then, but take a ton of usage while playing on the ball. So like it went from more of me evaluating him as an off-ball wing, and had decent size for that, right? Like he's 6'6" with shoes, 6'6" wingspan, 8'4" standing reach, all of that. But then as the season progressed, they realized they needed to put the ball in his hands more and more. And then the game I did against Purdue, where like, if you want to see the absolute highlights, go watch that Purdue game, because it was just ridiculous, or you go watch the breakdown. But it's just a ton of usage and generating a ton of paint touches in that game, along with the shot making. But what I like is I believe in him as an off-the-ball player as well, Sam. I think he understands relocation. I think if he plays off the ball early in his career next to Darius Garland, he's going to make an impact on the offensive boards. He understands all of those things. He loves that right-to-left crossover on the ball. And the other thing I was going to bring up was, he has some deceleration, understands how to like navigate spaces a little bit. Like all of those things are going to be very important for him, because while he does try to play with physicality and has put on weight here in the pre-draft process, I think it still might be a year or two before he really has the necessary size and strength to truly do it at the highest level. So I think that pull-up shooting, those decelerations, all those stride steps, all of those things are going to be very important for him early in his career.
He's an effective below-the-rim finisher, man. 56% of his attempts at the rim in half-court settings made them after December 1st, and that's the date that he moved to the lead guard role. One other thing I want to call out in terms of his off-ball ability is he's a killer offensive rebounder, man.
Yeah.
Like, he is a big time, I'm going to go chase the ball, go get the ball guy. Awesome ball screen playmaker and decision maker. Swings the ball really quickly, makes quick decisions. I'm a huge fan of what Wagler brings to the table. Look, I think this works for the Clippers. I think it's a great fit with Garland. I think it's a great fit with Kawhi. We'll see and I think that he has the ability to potentially become like a franchise-ish player right now. I don't know that he's going to be like best player on a title team or anything, but like, I think he can be that guy who is capable of, hey, after a couple of years, maybe I am averaging 20 points a game and 5 assists per game and, really able to kind of control the game once his body fills out and his frame fills out. NBA teams I've talked to think his frame's going to fill out and it's not really going to be a problem. So we shall see. The Nets are the team that, across the league where like there's a lot of people trying to figure out what's going to happen here. Right. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. We shall see. We got Sean Marks high-fiving. Looks like BJ Johnson. We got a whole lot of enthusiasm. They got their guy. Seeing these like front offices like high-five each other is always like really funny to me. It's just like, man, we got our guy. Here we go. It's just a ridiculous thing here. We'll see what this is.
Who would you take? I mean, if things slow down here, I think that's always fun. Like I would take Darius Acuff. Would you be Acuff, Mikel Brown? Would we go? Are you a little more into maybe a potential non-guards here already at 6? Like that, I think that's where things get interesting in this range. Is the first team to go away from this run on guards that we've kind of predicted at times throughout the draft process.
So we have the answer here. Yes, I would have gone Darius Acuff, but they have gone Mikel Brown. They have evaluated Mikel Brown as being the highest upside guard and highest upside player for them, and they have decided to do that. Okay, so I had Mikel Brown at 9 personally on my board, or 10, I think, on my board. I did project this in the mock. I'm 6 for 6 so far on the mock at The Athletic. I would expect 7 for 7 because this Kings pick is going to be Acuff, I'm sure. But okay, so what makes Mikel Brown special? He's genuinely an elite level ball screen creator in terms of blending the ability to shoot from 3 off of pull-ups and the ability to make live dribble passes. He's an absolute home run hitter as a ball screen playmaker, man. He sees the court incredibly well, and he throws bullets with his left hand off of a live dribble, and it does tend to be off the left. He prefers, I think that he has built his game really well in that way. He prefers to get into step backs going to his left, and then because teams have to respect that ability to step back off of the ball screen, he's then able to drive with his left, and then he's able to just palm the ball in his hand and whip the ball around with his left hand as a passer. So I really like the way that his game builds upon itself as a playmaker. The issues for me is he's like a truly egregiously bad defender, first and foremost. But second, it's the decision-making. He is an absolute home run hitter where the highlight reel, you could put together a 5-minute highlight reel of Mikel Brown that I think is probably more exciting and looks better than any players in the draft, maybe. I don't know about any players, but like certainly among them. It's the lowlights where he'll throw the ball like 5 rows deep into the stands or will get himself trapped because he isn't super strong yet on the ball. He's not quite there physically yet. He also doesn't have like many great answers in terms of finishing at the rim all the time. I know that his numbers this year at Louisville were a bit higher. He finished at like a 58% in half court settings at the rim, something like that. But in the past, like this is really like the outlier year by and large, where he's knocked down shots at the rim. So on top of that, doesn't have like much of a floater game yet. It's an interesting set of skills. Like I can look at Mikel Brown and be like, this guy is going to be an all-star for sure. He has that ceiling unequivocally. And for that reason, I can't kill the Nets for this pick. Like if you look at Mikel Brown as having the highest upside of any guy in this draft class among the guys that were left for them, I'm not going to fight you on it. I do think that there are a lot of things that he has to fix in order to impact a winning team, though, at the end of the day.
I disagree with the pick. I definitely would have gone Acuff here just based on where my board was at. I think he Acuff fits perfectly fine with what Brooklyn is trying to do. Like I definitely would have went Acuff. To your point, like I understand the bet on the talent of Mikel Brown Jr. He was, dealing with some injury stuff as well throughout the season. My thing with him, and more so we usually compare him a little bit more to Wagler for whatever reason. I just don't think he does as many of the other things. Like we talked about Wagler's ability to go play off the ball and grab offensive rebounds, right?
Like Mikel Brown, like theoretically can do those things. He's a really good high level shooter, right? But he just tends to hold the ball. Like he doesn't just make quick decisions all the time.
He also had one offensive rebound on the season, and he did play 21 games. Like
that's actually insane. I didn't know that.
I have two really fun rebounding stats that I'm going to pull out tonight. That one I actually haven't said until tonight. The other one, I think that player will get drafted in the first round. I actually said on Knicks Film School. But, and listen, that's not all. Like, I'm sure people are like, who cares? It's the, I understand that, but it's just like the idea of being able to make impacts in multiple ways. I want to come
Bryce,
back to
what that says though, is that he's a very perimeter based player. Like
Correct.
He's somebody that tends to like live above the 3-point line and above the foul line, as opposed to being somebody that is like consistently in the paint. Cause like, look, if you're consistently in the paint, you just kind of find your way into a couple of rebounds.
Yeah. I do like the ball screen use. I love the call out on the left-hand passing. The other passing aspect is he's the one player in this class where I have kick ahead passes mentioned multiple times in my 2.5, 3 pages of notes. Like I loved how early and quickly he saw kick ahead passes in transition. He does do the eye manipulation, all of that. Like you said, though, like it can just be inconsistent. And then where does the defense end up? And, similar with Wagler, he is going to have to build out the frame to hold up at the cutoff point. And finally, you mentioned the mid-range stuff. Like those numbers are concerning to me for somebody that's going to play on the ball as much as he is. Not a ton of dribble jumpers, not much from the floater range. All like those things are going to be important for him as well. So again, I do not agree with this pick. He's not so far down my board where I think it's just like egregious. I just would have taken Darius Acuff.
So, speaking of Darius Acuff, we have a pick. The Sacramento Kings get their man, Darius Acuff. So, for people who don't know, Scott Perry, the general manager of the Sacramento Kings, coached Darius Acuff Sr. at Eastern Kentucky in the late 90s, I think even into the early 2000s, back when Scott Perry was a coach. Long-term relationship here, and I like the Kings and Scott Perry, I think, have played this wonderfully. They convinced Acuff and the Acuff family that Sacramento was the home for him, right? And they did an amazing job of kind of letting Acuff kind of filter down the board. Acuff went and worked out for everybody, but I think it was pretty clear that Sacramento was where he wanted to be. And I think that's a huge credit to the Kings. I think that's a huge credit in general to where that organization is heading, because you just think about Sacramento, right? Like how many players, just be real about it. How many players have they wanted and been like, no, we're not coming to work out. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. They got the guy here that wants to be there. That's amazing. And this is the guy I have 5th overall on my board. They got a good player who is, I think, a really good pick at this level, who wants to be there to be the guy. I mean, he's going to be a first team all rookie guy this year. Like no questions asked, just because he's going to average 20 points a game probably.
Yeah. I mean, this is my number 5 player as well. I never got to the point where I was really like considering him at 4 over Caleb Wilson. But once you get past, like, this is the guy to me that here after those top 4 has like, hey, if you tell me he makes multiple All-Stars, or you tell me he makes an All-NBA or leads the NBA in scoring, for a season in his career down the road, right? Like, this is the guy I think has the potential to do it. What has sold me on Acuff is I just fully believe in his ability to knock down shots, like, and not just on ball, but also off ball. This is a guy that, again, I realize you're drafting him to play on ball and be a point guard and run your team, But what I love is I believe that you can put the ball in Domantas Sabonis' hands at the top of the key and run him off floppy action or a get action or a zoom action or whatever. But then he also combines it with the ability to really pass the ball, Sam. Like that was ultimately what got me to 5 with him, was his ability to pass the basketball and not turn it over, right? I think it was a 3-to-1 turnover ratio, assist to turnover ratio throughout the whole season. I think it was even slightly better in conference play. Here's the thing that's going to be the most important for him, in my opinion. The defense has to get to a certain threshold. Like it can't just be the negative it was at Arkansas. He has, I know he's shorter, but I think he has the build. He's going to have the strength. He has a 6'7" wingspan. He has enough size to be, I want to be careful here. He has enough size to do like what we saw from Jalen Brunson in the playoff run. Like just hold up enough that you can't just, be taken advantage of possession after possession after possession and all that. No, some of this is how Sacramento is going to build the roster around him as well, right? Like when you have OG Anunoby and different things around you, those things, are a little bit easier, but he's got to get there. He has to get there on the defensive end.
I just want to call out, like, Darius Acuff was a monster this year, like in terms of his production. You look at what he did in SEC play, it's actually like kind of hard to overestimate how truly dominant he was. He averaged like almost 28 points per game, shooting like 49, 44, 80 in SEC play. He was like, the SEC was either the best or the second best league in the country this year, and he dominated, like completely took it over. I look at him and I think he's just like a totally scheme-proof player at the end of the day. You can put him in any situation. He's going to go get you 20 points and 6 assists, I think. Like, I think he's probably going to average 20 points and 6 assists in the NBA next year. I don't know if it's going to be that efficient at the end of the day, but I do think that it's going to be pretty wild watching him just be able to be a force of nature on some level. He is a wildly, wildly impressive ball screen playmaker. And I am a huge fan of what he's able to bring to the table. I love his footwork. I think he's so incredibly polished with the ball in his hands. Defensively, he's like one of the worst defenders I've ever evaluated. Like, it drives me insane. That's not an exaggeration. He is truly egregiously bad on defense. We'll see where that goes, right? We will see where his defense gets to. He needs to just be engaged and show like real effort when he's away from the ball. On the ball, when he's guarding point guards, I think he wants to like care and be engaged. He needs to show some like real team defense pride, I think, on some level, and that's what it'll be.
One more thing real quick. I also want him to do, like, one thing I look for in these quote unquote small guards is, do you do some of the quote unquote little things? Will you dig the ball out? Will you get a weak side rotation box out? Like these little extra efforts. I think that's where you can make up for some of the, deficiencies of being a smaller guard where the offense can take advantage just because you don't have the length. Those are the things I would like to see from Acuff in his rookie season, right? Like the off-ball defense awareness is going to take some time, but digging in, rotation box outs, those things, he can do those things early on. That's what I'm going to be looking for.
Yep. Okay. We finally have to make a decision on if we're going to get ahead of where the actual broadcast is or not, because we have the pick from Jake Fisher. Jake Fisher is saying that it's going to be Kingston Flemings here at number 8. I'm so irritated.
Why?
I made the last second decision to move Burries to 8 over Flemings. And I think what's going to happen is I'm just going to have flipped Burries and Flemings at the end of the day. But unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable that I did it. Because I had Flemings like for the last week and a half. And I was like, man, Kingston is just a little bit small for what Atlanta tends to like. But regardless, I have Kingston Flemings at number 7 on my board. I think Kingston Flemings is an outstanding pick for the Atlanta Hawks, and I really love the fit in terms of what he's going to be able to bring to the table. That's something a little bit different than what their current guards bring. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, CJ McCollum, a lot more of like a technician with the ball in their hands, right? Dyson Daniels, more of like a big ball screen playmaker, flies around off the ball trying to make things happen. Kingston Flemings is pure athleticism and speed. He is pure athleticism and speed, making decisions at quick speed. That's the big thing for me. He flies around and he makes quick, rapid decisions while also playing faster than everybody else on the court because of his first step. I am not as worried about like his ability to get to the rim as some people seem to be. That Houston situation with JoJo Tugler and Chris Cenac last year at the big positions just led to teams consistently selling out to stop the Cougars from getting to the rim, right? That led to a lot of mid-range jumpers. He's always been a mid-range heavy guy, for sure. But I think that you can envision a world where if he's able to improve his gathers getting to the basket, he can be somebody that is able to get to the rim in a well-spaced NBA situation. I love the idea of putting him up tempo with Jalen Johnson in transition and flying up the court. I think this is an awesome, awesome, awesome idea for the Hawks. It's what I would have done at this pick, unequivocally.
I've come around on drafting a guard for the Hawks here at 8. I kind of had, leaned into the big guy thing, but I like this pick as well. It's interesting that that's people's concern. Like if people maybe were concerned about the finishing because of the size, 6'3" wingspan, like all of that. But I think he just has a ridiculous combination of speed and pace. Like he gets defenders moving. He can decel. He caught my eye when I was actually watching for somebody else. And that's one of those things that doesn't happen very often with me, Sam. Like if I turn on a game to watch whoever it was, that's who I'm watching. Like I am locked in on them. And, because Flemings, came onto the radar a little bit later in terms of like early, he wasn't necessarily a lottery pick coming into the season, I guess is my point. But he had a stampede catch and attack in that game that I literally laughed out loud because it was so quick. It was so aggressive. I have multiple notes where it's just like, nobody can stay in front of him. Nobody can stay in front of him. Nobody can. And he has that speed and burst along with the decel, the Euro step, the body control, the hesitation, all of these different things. Like, I think he's going to be able to break down defenders, open their hips, all of that. It's just like, okay, can he finish at the rim? Where is the mid-range pull-up jumper going to land in terms of being able to knock down shots? Where's the off-ball catch and shoot going to be? Here's the other thing I'll say, because I can hear people saying they just traded Trae Young. Why would they bring in another quote-unquote small guard? Here's what I will say about Kingston Flemings defensively. You're not going to question his engagement. Like, there may be flaws, but he is going to play hard. He's going to be active. He's going to try to be in the right spots. He may give some stuff up, but I don't think you're going to question his effort and where he's trying to be on the defensive end.
Absolutely dead on. I think that's absolutely right. He is somebody who really gives effort and knows where he's supposed to be. I'm really glad you brought up the off-ball ability too. He played next to Milos Uzon this year in Houston and often did play off of the ball, which I think is going to be really important for him when accounting for Jalen Johnson handling the ball as much as he does, right? That ability to play out of stampede cuts. The shooting is a semi-question, I would say. He did make 39% of his threes and made 85% of his free throws, but the mechanics are funky and he doesn't really get threes up at volume. And I think it's a real thing.
Yeah. That's my thing with him. I had him 7 for what it's worth. I'm 8 out of 8 in the top 8 picks in terms of my board. But that was one thing with me with him was like, especially compared to Acuff. I just believe in Acuff and Wagler's ability to play off the ball at a fairly significant level compared to Flemings. That's not the end all be all, but especially for Atlanta, that would be maybe like my one thing because they do have CJ McCollum's going to play with the ball in his hands, Jalen Johnson, all of the names you mentioned. But I do think this will be a nice change of pace for them off the bench, right? Like they don't have this guy that does it this way. I really like what Atlanta's put together, and they still have another pick coming later in the first round.
Oh man, I'm irritated again. I wrote it as the first mock I had yesterday after the the, Dusty May thing happened was I got told that Morez was like very strongly in contention for Dallas. And then like people were like, no, it's probably Mara. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of got told Morez. So I put it in the mock yesterday that Morez was the player that was most likely. And then I got it flipped back to Mara, and then I ended up flipping to Ament. But Morez Johnson is the pick at number 9 for the Dallas Mavericks. I think this is a home run, man. I love Morez Johnson. Like that ended up being my top big on my board. You listen to literally anybody talk about Morez Johnson who has ever met him, and it is elite character across the board. It is unbelievable worker, unbelievable person. He now gets to join Dusty May, who would constantly talk about him as the barometer of his team at Michigan. If they had a down day in practice, they could always look at Morez and go, that's our guy. We're good. We got him on. We got it going because Morez is going to bring us energy every single day. He's going to be an awesome player in the NBA. He's a genuinely switchable defender. I would say 2 through 5 in the NBA early in his career. He's not quite like Bam Adebayo or anything defensively. He's not quite as twitchy as what Bam was, but man, he sits down and he guards. He can protect the rim a little bit. He's a great rebounder. He's a terrific finisher on the interior. He is physical. He wants to do all the dirty work that you find on the court. He is all about it. I am a big time Morez Johnson fan, and I love this pick for the Dallas Mavericks.
I'm probably not as high on this as you are. Like, I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly reasonable. I wonder what it means for that Dallas front court. I think it makes no sense if somebody's not moving in that front court in some capacity. But I really like the rim finishing. I like some of the touch he shows. Like, so, we talk about these guys and you think it's just all dunks. I think, I don't even think the touch numbers pop off on synergy, but just when I watch him play, I kind of believe in that. His ability off ball movement and cutting in terms of just like moving in the dunker spot, relocating along the baseline or into the middle of the lane or whatever. He is going to be a monster on the offensive boards. Like, he is just, if you don't match his relentlessness, you are going to get exposed. Like, you better be ready to match that. I think my question is like, what does the offensive role end up being? And then I love a lot of the things you're talking about defensively as well. He covers ground. I think he has ball screen coverage versatility. I just like 8-11 standing reach. Like, does that end up becoming some sort of an issue in ball screen drop or those type of things when he's truly playing at the 5? I want to be clear. Like, I very much had him in this range. I had him 11 on my board. So I don't think this is crazy. I don't know that I'm as excited, but I think it's perfectly reasonable for Morez Johnson Jr. to go here.
I think it's a great pick, man. Like, you're building something now in Dallas where it's like, okay, we can play and drop with Derek Lively, assuming he gets back healthy from his injuries, or we can just switch everything defensively now, right? Like, we can fly around, switch everything, do our thing, move around the court. Like, we got a whole lot of different options here to be able to attack, and I love it. I am really excited to watch him in Dallas because, man, they're building the foundation now of what I would say what they can be long-term, right? And they're building the idea of what a Cooper flag team looks like now, right? And we've always talked about Cooper being a really good two-way player. Well, now you've got your center that can be a really good two-way player and a really physical interior presence, right? Look, Morez Johnson has a chance to shoot it at some point too. Like, if he ever gets to the point where he's able to fire threes, he started to do it late in the year. He's taking 2 threes a game by the midpoint of the year. I don't know that he's going to come out firing threes in his first year, but I can guarantee you from watching Donovan Clingan fire threes the first couple of years and knowing that a big proponent of that was actually the front office, like encouraging him to fire threes because they thought it was really important for his development. I would bet you that Mike Schmitz, who comes from that Portland development tree where he was the assistant GM, largely involved in scouting and drafting, they're probably going to empower Morez Johnson. Hey, you go become a shooter. You go become a real guy who can knock down shots from distance. Certainly Dusty May empowered him last year to try to shoot from 3. So I am a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of what he brings.
If I'm teams, I'm calling Dallas immediately about Daniel Gafford, just as a side note.
And about Derek Lively, like, and about Morez even. Like, I'm calling about one of these guys. I'm not trading Morez, but like, I'm absolutely calling some of these guys to me and seeing if there's anything available, seeing if there's something that can happen. So now we've got the Bucks up at number 10. I don't know if the pick's in yet, but they have them on the stage.
The scenario we talked about, Sam, is playing out now, right? We got to ask a really, really good question because now Milwaukee does have the 13th pick, even though maybe it's still officially Miami's or whatever. But do they take, if they really are in on Nate Ament, do they take him here at 10? Or do you go with like Brayden Burries and then feel like you can still get Ament at 13 now that you have 13?
So I can tell you what I would do. I would take Brayden Burries here and think that Nate Ament's going to slip to 13.
Yep.
To be honest with you. That would be my plan here if I was the Bucks. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen the pick yet. Is it online?
I haven't.
Okay, Jake has it. Yeah. Jake has it as Burries. So it's Burries. Okay.
Nice.
I think this is the right move for what it's worth. I think Brayden Burries is the right call. He is a player that works incredibly well for me with what they now have on the perimeter, right? He can play with Kasparis Yakashonis. He can play certainly with Ryan Rollins. I think you might be able to get away with playing all three of them together at times because they're all pretty big. Ryan's not huge, but he's super long and he's super active on defense. Look at the Bucks. We got the Bucks draft room here. Wonderful. A lot of young guys in that draft room. I don't see too many decision makers in there, to be honest, which is a little bit funny. But I think this would be a great pick for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's a great defender. Can you imagine like throwing out there Ryan Rollins and Brayden Burries on the perimeter?
Yeah.
Just attacking teams on defense. That's where you start to, again, like build an identity as a rebuilding team, right? Hey, we're trying to be the team that is really tough to play against, right? We're trying to be the team that is annoying as hell. I love it.
Well, and here's what's, people always talk about the multi-ball handler thing, right? I think what you get with Rollins and Burries is two guys that can do that to varying levels, but then also two guys that can play off the ball, two guys that can defend. They also got Jaime Jaquez in that trade, a guy that, not as much of the off the ball stuff, but can also do something with the ball in his hands and provide downhill rim pressure. You bring in Khalil Ware, you have both Ware and Turner. So we talk about how hard it is to find floor spacing bigs in the NBA. Milwaukee now has two of them, at least theoretically. And with Ware, I think you've probably shown enough that you can just say it. But anyway, like you can provide that spacing for these guys. Listen, I don't know what they're going to do with Tyler Hero. I'm sure people are going, you guys haven't even said Tyler Hero's name. I'm assuming right now Tyler Hero ends up going ahead and getting moved on somewhere else. Maybe not. Maybe it's later. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Burries was at the top of my available on my board. And I think he's a guy that can play on and off the ball offensively. And I think he is going to be a good defender. I think I'm a little bit lower on the defense, maybe. But I do think he's a good defender.
I am not as low as, so define a little bit lower on the defense.
Like I see people compare him to Jalen Suggs, and like I'm not sure I immediately am thinking that's like if you made me put 51%, I'm not sure I would put 51% that he's going to become Jalen Suggs defensively.
Oh no, yeah, I think Jalen Suggs is just twitchier than he is athletically. He's more of like a Nickeil Alexander-Walker level defender to me. Not like that. Maybe can be an all defense guy. Maybe, could get in that world, but probably not, I would say.
Nah is the guy that when you watch him play, you think, man, that's a good defender. And then when you do all defense stuff, you never really actually bring up his name, right?
Correct. I think that's what Burries is. This
is coming from the biggest Nickeil Alexander-Walker fan you're going to find in podcasting. But even I'm realistic in terms of that. I would agree with that. Like if Burries is that, I would agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. Jake Fisher has the Warriors fielding offers for the number 11 overall pick, by the way, so we can hang out here for a second on Burries. Yeah, look, like Brayden Burries, I think, is really just like an underrated player. Like in an era of the NBA where you look at like weak link theory, quote unquote, where like you can't have guys who can't do everything on the court. Brayden Burries kind of does everything. Like he can pass a little bit. He can defend. He can certainly shoot. He can drive. Like he's just a very capable decision maker. I am a fan. I'm a big fan of what Brayden Burries brings to the table.
Just some of the numbers, like his most used play type for him was pick and roll ball handler. So we've talked all about, his ability to play off the ball, but and he was good. He was 46% on twos, 42% on threes. If you look at the 3-point shooting numbers, he was 39% on all catch and shoots. And then he was 40% on dribble 3-pointers. He was 44% on 2-point dribble jumpers, 45% on runners. Like to your point, like even the numbers kind of back up what the eye test said about Burries as well. So, really, really good basketball player. Really good basketball player. Got better throughout the year, which I think is impressive as well.
So just to kind of run through the 10 picks here. So
yeah,
top 7 go chalk, right? We got Dybantsa at 1, Peterson at 2, Boozer at 3, Wilson at 4, Wagler at 5, Brown at 6, and then Acuff at 7. We get at number 8, the Kingston Flemings pick, which was like sort of chalk. We knew they wanted a guard, right? At 9, we get Morez Johnson. Not quite like chalk, but certainly something that I mentioned is like a real possibility in the mock. At number 10, we get Brayden Burries, which is something that like they've been considering the whole way, from what I understand. Like Burries has been on their board is a real option the whole way. Now we get to 11. We're looking in the draft headquarters of the Warriors right now on the thing. We got Mike Dunleavy talking to, I think that might be Joe Lacob there. Can't totally tell. I'm interested to see what this is going to be. Looks like, I don't know about like disagreement, but like, I don't know. I think they're trying to work on it right now. Feels like we're working on something.
Can I ask you a philosophical question about like So I did a Pistons podcast where we were looking at trade up, and I wanted to do pick 11 just because I wanted to do pick 11. But my caveat was I don't actually think the Warriors would be a team to trade out or trade back for like future draft capital or something. To me, it seemed like my question is like, are you surprised that the Warriors trading this pick is kind of seemingly on the table here? I guess it obviously
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I've been told like this was a possibility.
What are they trying to get?
It's a good question. I think they're kind of.
If it's for a player, I suppose I understand it, but if it's not, I guess I don't.
I mean, what if you can get like? What if Charlotte wants to move up to get like a Dymara or something, and they offer 14 and 18 for 11 and like something else, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm just like spitballing. Right. The name out of the guys that are left here that I've heard most associated with Golden State is Yaxel. So they could feel like they might be able to get Yaxel later or something like that.
And for them filling out the roster with rookie scale numbers. Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The pick's in. Let's see. Let's see if we got it somewhere online. All right. Jake Fisher reporting. Warriors are staying put, and they are taking Yaxel Lendeborg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So just for the record here, we're through 11 picks. All 11 of my top players are off the board.
Same. Yeah. Same.
So that's where we're at this point. So Yaxel Lendeborg. Bryce, what makes Yaxel Lendeborg such a great player and a great fit for the Golden State Warriors, assuming that this comes through and that Jake ends up correct? I'll never forget Jake.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
The Jared McCain thing.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I was going to leave because I like Jake. I like Jake a lot. And so I was like,
so do I.
I couldn't remember who it was. I just remember that it was like, oh no.
It's Jared McCain instead of Khalil Ware.
Yeah.
Oh man, shout out Jake. Jake's doing a great job. Genuinely, I love what Jake Fisher's doing right now. But
So for me, it starts defensively
yeah.
with Yaxel Lendeborg. Like I think
Yeah.
he is a versatile defender. I think he can guard at the point of attack. And I think he has disruption, obviously good size and length. And then what I like with him in Golden State is I do think he can make quick decisions, and I think he can move the ball. I think for his role and archetype, he's going to be a plus passer for that role and archetype. I think he's good in, like, he just grabs a defensive rebound. He can hit the outlet pass or the kick ahead pass. He can grab and go. So I think he has that versatility offensively as well, can play with physicality to hold his line. It really comes down, like, is he going to be able to knock down shots at a way that, like, keeps the floor spaced and all of that? Obviously an older prospect. This is something that's been talked a lot about. I just really appreciated the way he went into Michigan this year and filled into that role after at UAB, where he was creating a lot of the offense, getting all of the rebounds. That's another thing. I think he's a better rebounder than the raw box score numbers show.
Yaxel Lendeborg is just like straight up crying. I think that it's just cool, man. Like, Yaxel's story is like kind of unbelievable, right? Like, you know, the fact that he's even here is crazy. Like, he was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Ohio when he was 2, like got cut from his high school team in his freshman season because of poor grades, and then like didn't play because of poor grades as a sophomore and junior. And he only played his last 11 games as a senior in high school. Crazy. And that's it. And then he went JUCO, then went to UAB, and then to Michigan, and was one of the 3 best players in college basketball this season.
First team All-American and national champion.
It's the versatility for me. I think he's a monster on defense. Like, I think he is genuinely awesome on defense. The ability to guard at the point of attack, the ability to really fly around in help situations. He has a 7'4" wingspan at 6'8.5". Like, he is really capable of covering a ton of ground while also pestering and annoying players at the point of attack on defense. It's a rare skill set. Like, it is a very, very difficult thing to find somebody this big, who is this athletic, who has this kind of length, and who really cares on defense, right? Dusty May was really happy too. That's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. Ben McCollum sitting next to Dusty May. Offensively, a lot's going to come down to the jumper. He's a great transition player. He can really pass. He has great feel for the game as well. But a lot of it will come down to, can he consistently knock down shots? And this year, it was up and down. He made 37% over the large sample on almost 5 attempts per game, right? So big sample, good. But, you know, there were stretches where it was like, okay, he went like 25% for a 15-game stretch. He went like 45% to close the season, like in a big stretch, right? So, look, Yaxel's like an interesting character, right? Like, he's somebody that when you talk to teams, it's, you know, he has no filter. He is somebody who's just like, he can be like a bit emotional, as we see here on the broadcast. His teammates love him. Like, there's no issues, no problems there. I think the Michigan staff, like, after he came in, like, not really knowing how to work, they really grew to love him. And yet, like, I think Golden State's the perfect environment to, like, kind of get the best out of somebody like this. They've dealt with, like, big personalities like this before. They've dealt with guys that, like, you know, aren't traditional. Like, they aren't robots, right? I think Steve Kerr really knows how to deal with these guys, right? So I think this is a great fit. This is a big win for me, for the Warriors, and I think this is going to go really, really well.
I agree. And I think a big thing for me, this is what I loved about, obviously, the full story that you went through with Yaxel Lendeborg. What I love is watching him and scouting him at UAB. And this is to my point at the top, where we've scouted these guys for more than 12 months. I remember watching him at UAB. I actually just got a text from somebody that was like, hey, remember when we were talking about Yaxel Lendeborg at UAB 2 years ago and how far he's come and grown his game? I think what got him here, Sam, is the fact he went to Michigan and showed this ability to play the 3 at Michigan, and
Yeah.
his numbers were actually less. His numbers went down from the crazy numbers he was putting at UAB. The rebounding numbers went down, but it just shows that one, NBA teams will still evaluate you in a certain way, even if the numbers aren't as quote unquote as impressive. And I think it showed that, hey, I can go into a Golden State Warriors system where I'm not going to have the ball in my hands to start possessions, and I can contribute, because I don't know that I was this high on his defense watching the UAB film. I can say pretty confidently that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I think I give him a lot of credit for being able to go into Michigan and change roles. I can't emphasize enough how much different his role was from UAB to Michigan, and how he flourished even more in that role.
Totally agree with you. Could not agree more. Oklahoma City now up at 12. I mean, look, like unsurprisingly, there has been a lot of discussion about what they could do. They have 2 picks here. They have a number of different options at their disposal to be able to explore. I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest. Like, I think that, I've heard Dalen Swain's name associated with them a lot. I think Aday Mara, would
people
be an
seem
interesting
to really
name
like
for them.
Mara for them. Like, is that where you would go here? Those are the couple of those 2 guys, Steinbacher, Mara, Swain, Steinbach, Ament, Carr. Like, those are the names on my board right now. Would you throw, is there another name for you that, whether this pick or the next few, that you would really be interested in?
I don't know, to be honest with you. This is a tricky spot. I would have wanted Morez. I would have wanted Burries particularly. I might try to trade out here, to be honest with you.
Maybe this is where the Pelicans come in. I mean, the idea was, so here's my other question. The guy, this happened last night, Sam, because we passed on Ament at 10, and then we're like, where's he going to end up going? I think we ended up with 13, but that's the name that's really interesting here. And as we said, 15, 20 minutes ago, Milwaukee, if they really wanted him, may be playing this perfect. Like, they're one more pick to getting Burries at 10 and Ament at 13, which I ultimately think would be an awesome draft for them. Like, getting Burries, going ahead and making that selection is awesome. And then taking the more upside swing on Nate Ament in terms of where they're at. I think that would be a really, really nice draft for the Milwaukee Bucks. So we'll see if he ends up there, depending on what the Thunder do.
So the Thunder have taken Aday Mara at number 12. So we are now, I believe, on my big board. Oh no, we're sorry. We're 12 for 13 because I had Mara at 13 on my board. Look, very Oklahoma City player that I do wonder, look, I'm envisioning this more as Isaiah Hartenstein is there next year, right? And this is probably more of a succession plan for Isaiah Hartenstein as opposed to them not re-signing him. Everything I understand about Oklahoma City is they really love Isaiah Hartenstein and they're not trying to get rid of him. They have a team option on him. I think other players will move instead, right? What I will say about this, though, is that I love the ball. I love the passing. I love the way that he passes the ball, makes decisions. I think that he is somebody that can really be a hub for you at the top. He's a guy who really enjoys screening in a way that Isaiah Hartenstein enjoys screening, right? I think that this really works for Oklahoma City. Like, he's a really hard worker who ticks all of their boxes from a personality perspective. That, when you think about Thunder guys, right? They care about all of the personality stuff. Are you going to be a fit in the locker room? Mara is going to be all that. He's a tremendous rim protector. He absolutely, if he's on the interior, he shuts it down because he's 9'9" standing reach and has pretty good timing on the interior. I love the passing and playmaking. I'm a little bit more skeptical on the jumper than some people maybe seem to be, but look, if you can pass and you can protect the rim as a center in today's NBA, you got it, man. And look, they have another guy here in Thomas Sorber who can do this as well. So you could be looking at a relatively cheap group of Aday Mara, Chet Holmgren, Thomas Sorber, where Chet is on the max, but then you have two guys for the next 3 years that maybe you can make work with Chet, and maybe Hartenstein, you just opt into the team option and you decide, hey, let's maybe play this out for another year. We'll give you the full money instead of giving you a long-term deal, but we're just going to opt into the team option and see where this goes.
And the other thing I think is important here for him, like in terms of the Oklahoma City Thunder context that you're outlining, is what was one other concern we've brought up over the last couple of weeks? His ability to play minutes, right? Like, is he a guy that's going to play 30 plus minutes a night for you? Oklahoma City should theoretically always have plenty of depth in their rotation. Like, they're just set up to continue to turn over the roster in the necessary way. And so that's why I think this ends up being a good spot for him. Is he shouldn't ever be in a position with Oklahoma City where they just have to have him play 30 plus minutes. Now, if he gets there, then great, right? Like, I'm not saying you limit him, but it could be just, hey, he's a guy that plays 18 to 25 minutes throughout, the first part of his career, and that ends up still being really good value with the number 12 pick. I'm glad you brought up the ball screen stuff. That was something I noticed later in my evaluation of him, is I do think he's a good ball screen. And I appreciated his body control and the way he was able to catch the ball in traffic and finish in some of my watching at the end of the year as well.
At the end of the year, yes. I think the hands got better throughout the year.
Yeah.
I still have some slight
Sure.
worries in that respect.
Yep. And then I'm a little bit nervous about the actual practical play strength. There was some possessions that where like even especially probably a smaller quote unquote big, if he gets into his chest or his midsection, he's able to bump him back or get him out of legal guarding position, where then they're able to score, create space, or draw a foul. So that practical play strength is something that makes me a little bit nervous on, like, just in terms of how impactful the defense ends up being.
The other thing I will call out is there are going to be a lot of people that say, Aday Mara, he's the Victor Wembanyama stopper here going forward. He's the guy that's going to be able to slow down Victor. I don't think he's that. I don't think he moves laterally well enough to be able to guard Victor in space on his drives. Like, he is decent laterally. He's better than you expect for somebody who is 7'3" laterally. But I don't think that he is like a crazy mover in that way. That, like, Victor, I think, is going to be able to, like, hesitate him and, like, kind of get him on his back foot and cause him some problems. Like, Hartenstein is a more fluid mover than Aday Mara is. And maybe Aday can improve in that respect, right? But yeah, this is not like a Hartenstein level mover. This is not a mover in the same vein of, like, I'm trying to think of an example, like a Rudy Gobert, right? I think Rudy's a little bit more fluid laterally, but Aday is enormous. He's like damn near elite in drop coverage, and he is somebody who can really pass and play make as a hub out on the top, to where I think it's going to be really, really hard. Like, you actually do need to close down passing angles on him, because he will spot them and point them out. Yeah.
No, I agree with all of that. I think it makes the Oklahoma City big man rotation interesting, and kind of see what they do with it moving forward.
Yeah. So, like, one question I have is not if this makes Hartenstein available. I would imagine it doesn't make Hartenstein available. Does this make Jalen Williams from Arkansas available? Maybe like, like the fact that you ended up with, okay, if you feel like Sorber is healthy, I don't know where they are on Thomas Sorber. Do you end up in a circumstance where you're like, all right, we've got Chet and Hartenstein, we've got Sorber, and we've got Aday Mara on, like, cheap deals moving forward. We need to cut costs somehow. Jalen Williams is a guy that 20 other teams, I'm sure, would love to have because he can shoot. Or do you look at it as like, man, we need the shooting from Jalen Williams because neither of these other guys off the bench can shoot, right? Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see the way they handle that, I think. Maybe you just keep them all at the end of the day.
I also want to quickly point out, I'm sure other people have already recognized this, but all three Michigan players, I was on a Michigan radio earlier today, and I said, hey, I think they're all going to go in the lottery. They all went in the top 12. All three of those guys ended up in the top 12, which is just, really, really impressive for them. Also, just quickly thank everybody who's joining us right now, whether you're in and out. I know all of you have probably team specific podcasts you listen to for the draft. And, if you go over and check that out or whatever, and then come back, completely understand. I've been checking the numbers, every once in a while so I can brag to my wife about how many people we have watching. But just thank all of you for tuning in, and go check out the Substack after this is over and watch the video breakdowns we have on all of these players.
Go hit the subscribe on the Substack, gametheorysamv.substack.com. Also, go hit the subscribe here as well. If you enjoy the way we talk about basketball, we do this year round. We hang out, we talk about the NBA, we talk about the draft. Hang out. Please join us. We have a pick here at number 13, Bryce, according to the People's Insider, Jake Fisher. Nate Ament is going to go 13th overall.
Yep. Makes sense.
And this is where I'm fine with this pick at 13. I had him 14th on my board. Like, I'm not the biggest Nate Ament guy, but this is where I think he should have been picked, like in this ballpark. I want to call out the Bucks here, who I think did a really, really good job of playing the board.
Yeah.
Because I think that, look, it's not been a secret that Nate Ament has been an option for them the whole way. Throughout the process, I can't tell you how many NBA sources were like, yeah, that Jimmy Haslam is like the biggest donor in the country to the University of Tennessee, right? The owner, Jimmy Haslam, right? He just donated $130 million to the university, which is the largest gift in school history. He and his wife. Like, they want Ament. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to take Ament at some point if they get 13 or if they get 10. So I really like the fact that they were able to wait till 13 to get him, and you bring in Brayden Burries, who I have as a better player.
Yep.
I think they're probably going to be, honestly, like maybe one of my winners, like at the end of the night, to end up with Burries particularly at 10. And then Ament's fine. Like, I think this is a pure win to me. I think they've done exceptionally well here to end up how they've ended up for the Bucks. And look, you're now looking at the Giannis trade. You can look at it as Kasper Siakashonis, Kalel Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Nate Ament. And if Ament hits, it could go really well. Now, explain to me why we're a little bit more worried about Nate Ament.
I think just the ability to get to the rim, finish at the rim. We can get into the actual numbers if we need to, but they're not.
I
great.
can do that if you want.
Yeah, it's something we've talked a lot about, and the numbers kind of back it up. It shows up on film. Another one of these guys, like the length is awesome. 6'10" in shoes, 6'11" wingspan, 9'1" standing reach for a guy that's, playing on the wing, forward, perimeter type of player. But you got to play with more physicality, and it's on both ends of the floor for him. I actually think he plays with a little more physicality offensively than defensively. I think that even shows up more on the defensive end.
And drew a ton of fouls this year as a driver, like was up around like 7 free throw attempts per game, like really has no problem with contact, in my opinion.
But my thing also is like, what is he trying to be? What does he want to be? Like, is he trying to be this like on ball, whatever, I know you're like the Kevin Durant type of stuff, which neither of us think he is, or are you going to be a little bit more off ball and catch and shoot and cut and get out in transition and make an impact on the offensive boards? Like, can you take a little bit of like a Jabari Smith Jr. path to your archetype and your role? Like that's more, I'm not saying they're one-to-one players. That's not what I'm saying, but just like that being a little bit more of your role than trying to be this on ball shot creator, shot maker that, Kevin Durant-esque.
Yeah, totally agree. To me, he needs to be, if I'm him, I'm watching as much Jaden McDaniels tape as humanly possible.
Yeah, this was a great
he needs to be like a great high-level defender to me who can also consistently knock down shots from the perimeter. And in high school, he did it. Like, he really knocked down shots regularly. He was a 40% three-point shooter from three off the catch on the AAU circuit, on the Adidas circuit in his year before his senior year. And he really emerged as a senior. The problem is that I think he became too much of this like driver and like on ball playmaker. Like people want him to be Kevin Durant. He's not Kevin Durant. It's fine. Like he doesn't have to be Kevin Durant to make $200 million. Like he could make $200 million in his career. Like if he just embraces being Jaden McDaniels, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So he made 43% of his attempts at the rim on the Adidas circuit last year. He made 42% of his attempts at the rim at Tennessee this year. The year before, he only made 54% of his attempts at the rim on the under 16 circuit in half court settings. So you're talking about a guy here that just has never really shown the ability to finish at the rim, right? You can point to Tennessee spacing all you want. It's not Tennessee spacing. If you can't create rim pressure, you have to be like a great perimeter player at the end of the day. And you have to knock down shots to be able to do that. And I think he can pass a little bit. And I think that he can he definitely has enough touch to maybe shoot it at some point. He's massive, obviously. My issue is he just has a very high center of gravity and is not really capable of being as physical as he needs to be, right? But by and large, like I'm a big fan of what he could be if he embraces being that 3-and-D guy. That's why I have I know there are a lot of people who don't have lottery grades on him, even among people I talk to in NBA front offices. I couldn't get below the lottery level because if he does embrace being that guy for Milwaukee and just, hey, I'm going to go be that Jaden McDaniels type, that long athletic guy who covers ground and really cares on defense. He's not a bad defender by any stretch already. I really, really think that he can be an impressive player in the NBA.
Yeah, so I ended up with him at 15, so right outside the lottery, but in this kind of tier of players. I had a single possession that I thought really highlighted him defensively. He tries to get to the cutoff point, showing real ground coverage, but then he wasn't strong enough to hold up the line at the cutoff point, but then still, even after giving up the advantage, was able to block the shot from behind with that link. So he has real disruption ability there. And I think an understanding of where is my cutoff point? What is my line to get there? And so I think he will play with real effort in those situations. But again, there's also examples where he just turns to the side to take contact or will put his hands on as opposed to playing with his chest. But to what we said earlier, the thing is, we know he will play with contact because he did it offensively. And so it's
right.
Taking that and transitioning to the defensive end of the court, adding some strengths to the frame. I've really come around to the Jaden McDaniels thing. I wouldn't have thought of it myself because Jaden McDaniels is such a high level defender, and I don't know that I believe Ament will ever get to that. But if that can kind of be, hey, I'm a really good lengthy wing defender, and then I can knock down, catch and shoot. I can now use my on-ball skills that I've shown to attack closeouts, get to a mid-range pull-up, occasionally get to the rim, to the free throw line. Good enough. I don't know. He's probably a better passer than McDaniels coming out. I didn't scout McDaniels, so I may be wrong.
I would say he's a better passer. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now he can do some of that stuff when he's attacking a closeout and breaking down the defense. So I think that would be a really good path for him. And I don't mind this at all. At 13, you have the Burries pick already solidified. I'm cool with Milwaukee trying to take a little bit of a swing here.
Yeah, I agree. Adam Silver is announcing that Ament will go to the Bucks. And we got Hannes Steinbach going to the Hornets at number 14.
This is something we've said a lot recently.
Yep. Have it in the mock. That's 10 for 14 for me so far in the mock, by the way.
Well done.
And of my top 14 players on my board, you better believe 14 players are off the board.
So so the one player I still have is the player I knew I would have. I knew I was going to be higher on Dalen Swain than others. And so I'm 14 of 15, which I'm comfortable with because I knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah. Tell me why you like Hans Steinbach.
I mean, first and foremost, I like it for Charlotte, just bringing in a big, and it seemed like for, NBA people, to me, it seemed like there was kind of a group of bigs here in the lottery mid first round, starting at 8 or 9 to 15, 16, whatever it ended up being, maybe as low as 18. And it was Morez, it was Aday, it was Steinbach. Obviously, Steinbach is the one that is left here. I think he's the one that kind of has a really interesting offensive skill set potential in terms of can short roll pass a little bit, shows a little bit of finesse with his finishing, reverse layups, playing angles off the backboard. Can he eventually really space? I think he rim runs in a straight line really, really well. I think he moves well in kind of those movements, just like a straight line rim run down the middle of the floor. Keeps the ball high on his catch and finishes. And then defensively, I think is where it's a little bit interesting because I like some of the things he does in the ball screen, like his hips, and I like some of his movement, but I don't think he's truly switchable or anything like that. And then I'm not sure he has like the vertical pop and explosion in terms of what does some of the ball screen drop end up looking like. Are players going to be able to get over the top and finish over the top of him? Does that end up being some sort of issue offensively in terms of being a big time vertical finisher in ball screens and all of that? But I like adding this to that Charlotte Hornet big rotation. And I think he's a skilled player. And again, maybe a guy that ends up spacing out and shooting from distance a little bit.
So Hans Steinbach, awesome hands, first and foremost. Catches everything in and outside of his area, catches below his waist, catches above his waist, catches above his head. Awesome fundamentals. Like you said, the catch high, keep high stuff is really important. Has great touch, I think, around the interior. Has great touch, potentially stretching out to three. I believe you said that as well. Drilled 34% of his threes on nearly 2 attempts per game. I think at some point he's going to have a chance to shoot. Apparently he's being serenaded right now by Dirk Nowitzki, which is kind of amazing. Shout out to him because that's awesome. That's really cool.
The Germany thing. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're both German. And I think that
I was like, what is Dirk's association with the Charlotte Hornets? I'm an idiot. I apologize.
Dirk's association is nowhere with the Charlotte Hornets.
Very
Dirk's
much so
association. Yeah. Dirk's association is with Hans' father, Burkhardt, who played with Dirk in Würzburg when Dirk was coming up in the 1990s. And then Hans's dad became a farmer after basketball. So nice. Very, very fun. These are the draft guide things that you get from me, right? Great. Just the key to me is that he's an incredibly skilled offensive playmaker. He's just kind of a no-fail prospect to me because he's going to finish on the interior. He's going to catch everything. He's massive. He has enormous shoulders. And on top of it, he's strong enough to hold his position. He rebounds the ball incredibly well. It's just whether or not he's a third big or if he's a starter, right? Like that's the real key to me. If he's a third big, great. If he's a starter, we'll find out.
I will also I think I should have started with the rebounding because one thing I really appreciate about him is it's offensively and defensively. Average almost 12 rebounds a game. Over 4 offensively, but also 7.5 defensively. So just like a big time rebounder. Real quick question, because I've heard people talk about him being able to play the 4 or be a forward. Do you see that level of versatility from him? Or if not, what is it if the jumper comes around? Because that's where being a third big becomes even more valuable, Sam, right? If he's only quote unquote a third big, but he can play 20% of his NBA minutes at the 4, that's even more valuable of a third big because of that versatility and lineup versatility.
I think there are probably certain lineups where he's going to be able to do it. I think there are probably certain lineups where if you have a spacing big who can protect the rim, he'll be able to play the 4. If not, you're probably going to end up more with him at the 5. I think he's big enough to play the 5 for what it's worth. I think it's just going to be totally fine for him to play the 5.
It wasn't as much as people questioning his ability to play the 5. It was just, I think some other people were higher on his ability to play the 4 than what I was.
Yep. It's more to me a question of can he be effective as a rim protector at the 5?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the numbers in terms of, what happened with Washington's defense when he was playing at the 5. So I'm looking at the numbers right now. Played 382 minutes at center this season. Washington allowed 114.2 points per 100 possessions during those minutes. Opponents shot 68.6% at the rim with Steinbach at center, which is just like a massive number. That's like 8th percentile nationally. Opposing teams also shot 47.5% in the paint outside of 5 feet, which was in the 13th percentile nationally. So they did a lot playing him with like Frank Kepnong at the rim, or, I think they had Lathan Somerville at the rim, right? Where like he would play the 4 oftentimes and they'd go like with the 2 bigs and he'd just crash in. But by and large, like, I think he's going to be big enough to make it work. He does need to get better at his fundamentals on the interior, like using his size, using his length. But I do think that by and large, he's going to be okay.
Yeah. No, I kind of evaluated him just as a pure 5. I'm not sure I saw this versatility to play the 4 as much as maybe some other people did, but this is right where I had him in this range. So
we have pick number 15 from Jake Fisher as well. Do you want to guess?
Cam Carr.
It is Dalen Swain.
Oh, there we go. Now I'm 15 for 15. There we go. Back on track.
I am also 15 for 15, baby. We're rolling right along, guys. All 15 of our top 15 players off of the board. Dalen Swain, fun player out of Texas this year. Explain to me what makes Dalen Swain so special, Bryce.
This is a guy that I
actually real quick. Can I call out something just briefly?
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. It's your podcast.
Some real slap energy here with Bryson Graham. Size, length, athleticism, physicality. Dalen Swain, that's what it is.
Yeah. This was one of those evaluations that, I really had to adjust because, as I've pointed out now multiple times, I've been watching Dalen Swain since his freshman year at Xavier. And like, okay, this kid's kind of interesting. I like the defense here, the potential if the jumper really comes around. In those 2 years at Xavier, Sam, never did I think that he was going to have the on-ball creation that we saw this year at Texas. Like, I wouldn't have guessed it was going to get to the level that we saw this year. But then I also don't think that that's his role in the NBA. Like, I don't think that Chicago's giving him the ball and saying, hey, like, you're going to play point guard in the non-Josh Giddey minutes or something like that. But it was still cool to see that ability, some of the handle and the wiggle that he had, the ability to pressure the rim, 5.5 free throw attempts this year. If you really want to buy the jumper and the shooting, only 34% from 3, but he was 82% for his career from the free throw line. I think he's a monster rebounder. Like, I think the rebounding numbers may be even better, like, because he did have so much, offensive usage. Listen, you can go watch a lot of our Substack episodes, guys, and the defense, especially off the ball, is a real concern. Like, the off-ball defensive awareness. Like, this is something him and Caleb Wilson are going to have to learn and grow together there with Chicago. But you talk about a team that can get out in transition, that can run, that's athletic, that can get to the rim. Between Modest, Caleb Wilson, and Dalen Swain, there may be some floor spacing issues in the half court. Quite frankly, there will be. But like, them getting out, and like, they got to be one of the fastest paced teams in the NBA the next couple of years, because those guys can get out and go. And I think that's one of the things Dalen Swain does the best, is he's a good defensive rebounder, and then he can grab and go and start transition.
It's absolutely right. I'm really glad you brought up the transition game, the grab and go game. I think it's so important to what he's capable of doing early on in the NBA. I think you brought up all of the skills that I really love about Swain. Real isolation scorer this year, finished 13th among all high major players in the country this season in points per game out of isolation situations, which makes him a really interesting player in terms of his potential to be able to be a creator if it comes together. He got to the line 6 times per game this year, made 81% of his free throws. Now, also can pass. Like, let's bring up that too. Can throw live dribble passes with either hand. Mostly needs to gather, but like, very comfortable. I thought he was really good with his screening partner as well. Knew how to like time with Modest Vokatitis and like be able to kick out to shooters right now. The key with Swain is like, not a great shooter, not a great defender. And what are the 2 skills that really get you on the court early in your NBA career, right? I would argue it's shooting and defense, right? Like those are the two things that you can hang your hat on really easily and just go, hey, shooting, defense. These are the two things that really matter. You know, I think that in Chicago, it's probably the best possible fit for him because they're not going to be like truly contending next year, right? Yeah. So if they're not truly contending, they can kind of give him some reps where he's able to like kind of work through the shot. The key for me is not that he doesn't have touch. The key for me is that the mechanics are just a little bit slow, right? And they take a little bit of time. So he needs to be able to speed up those mechanics and be able to actually get 3-point shots off at volume, in my opinion. Once that happens, I think we're in a pretty good position.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good place for him to grow and develop because those things are going to have to happen for him. And, you know, he's going to be in an ecosystem where, again, Caleb Wilson's going to have to be growing with that. Like, heck, Modest Bazelis is still growing with that a little bit as well. But I think the Bulls got two really talented players. Obviously, you know, for us, they had a fairly easy pick at number 4 with Caleb Wilson. Like, this one could have went a bunch of different ways. I definitely would have understood a Cam Carr pick here, but Dalen Swain makes a ton of sense as well. So this is one of those that, you know, if we're doing teams that we really like with what they did, we haven't had I'm waiting for the big surprise pick, you know, or the trade or whatever. None of those things have happened yet. Things have kind of went the way somewhat that I thought, but I like this for Chicago. Caleb Wilson, Dalen Swain, really good Tuesday night for the Bulls.
I would agree that I think this is a good talent addition for sure. Like I'm all for that. Look, like Giddey, Caleb Wilson, Dalen Swain, it's not like an amazing shooting situation, right? But we'll find out whether or not that's something that comes here, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we have number 16 coming. I have gotten a text where I don't know that I want to share it yet on what I think is going to happen, but we will find out whether or not that's true.
So, like, what are the names? Give everybody your names, right? Like, to me, it's Cam Carr. I'm a little bit higher on LeBaron Philon. I think for you, it would be Christian Anderson. We're kind of getting into the range of these guards, right? I guess would be my thing.
We are.
Christian Anderson, LeBaron Philon, Bennett Sturts. I think for me and you, Abuka Corey is a little bit lower. For a lot of other people, like some people have him, you know, really high. But I think we're getting into the range where some of this next group of guards may start going off the board over some of these upcoming picks.
Okay, so the Grizzlies are up here. They are selecting. So for what it's worth, like, I'm not, we'll see. I don't know that I want to say this yet. I've only gotten it from one person, so I can't journalistically do this, Bryce.
Responsible reporting. I respect it, Sam. I respect it.
Yeah. So Adam Silver is up. They have taken Bennett Sturt. So that is the text I got. Nice. And for what it's worth, the text I got is that this is a trade up for the Thunder.
Oh, wow.
So the Thunder moved up to get Sturts. Has that been reported anywhere?
I'm not on social media at all right now.
Let me look to see if somebody got that. So yeah, Sturts at 16. It looks like it's going to Oklahoma City would be my guess.
So that would just be a one spot jump too.
It would be. Talk about what Sturts is while I figure out if this is actually happening.
At the end of the day, it's Sturts no matter where he's going to end up. So, I mean,
for what it's worth, Shams has it, Sturts to Oklahoma City for 2 second-round picks. I would imagine that it's 17 and 2 second-round picks, not just they only get 2 second-round picks for 16.
So obviously this was a spot that other people were trying to trade into, would be my guess, right? Like Oklahoma City had to, was giving up 2 seconds over somebody else trying to get in there. Sturts, another really good story in terms of a guy that hasn't, didn't get highly recruited coming out of high school and started at Northwest Missouri State with his coach, Ben McCollum. Then they went to Drake and then to Iowa. and we saw him be very, very effective in that conference, after being very effective in, the Division II level. And then obviously at Drake is when he really came onto the scene, can really, really shoot the basketball, ran that offense extremely well. It is a very, very structured offense, right? Like that is the one thing that I'm interested with Sturts in terms of, okay, how quickly, I think he will eventually be able to adapt and get to it, but how quickly does he adapt to playing a very different style of basketball, a very faster paced style of basketball than what he's played for with McCollum, but makes really good reads and decisions. Again, can really, really shoot the basketball. I'm just kind of interested to see, like, playing a little bit more off the ball, where things at defensively. I do think he has really good hands. So I am interested to see how some of this stuff ends up translating, but I just believe in the talent.
My favorite Bennett Sturts stat, I said this on the Rosillo show a couple weeks ago. Last year in Missouri Valley Conference play, he played 40.3 minutes per game. College basketball games are only 40 minutes per game, and he played 40.3 minutes per game because I think one or two of their games went to overtime, and he was able to play. Yeah, I think that, and he just never comes out of the game. Monster shooter, first and foremost. I think he plays at angles as a ball handler, like way more than what he gets credit for. Like, he's a lot more sudden than what he gets credit for as a ball handler, in my opinion. Like, he has different crossovers. He has the ability to play off of hesitations. I really love, just in general, like the way that he's able to put force through his ankles and like really drive off of them. He creates separation in that way in isolations, right? This is a guy that averaged over 20 points per game in the Big Ten this year, right around 20 points per game in the Big Ten this year, with a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, and just consistently drills threes. Like, I know he shot 36% from three this year. He's just an absolute monster. Is a shooter, to where so many of those shots were just absolute grenades at the end of the shot clock. He's so much better than a 36% 3-point shooter. I am a big, big believer in Sturts being able to figure out a role in the NBA. Is he going to be able to guard? Is he going to be able to hold his line defensively? Is he going to be able to handle those situations? Those are the questions that we're going to have to find out, right? I do know that he's smart enough to be in position, which is what matters for Oklahoma City with all the great defenders they have around him. I do know that he's at least going to be able to make quick decisions, which is something that is so paramount within their offense. And on top of it, when you and I talked about that series against San Antonio, I thought they needed more shooting. Like, people complained about the ball handling. Both Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell got hurt, right? Like, if two of your three best ball handlers get hurt, you're probably screwed, right? To me, it was more that they lacked shooting that could play on the court, because Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe just were not able to play in that series. Well, in Sturts, they kind of get a guy who does both. He's capable of handling the ball, and he's an elite shooter, right? So I like the fact that they are handling kind of multiple holes here in this way. I think it's really sharp. I love the way that they have kind of navigated this, given, like, I would say the board did not fall the way that they expected it to fall, maybe is the way to put it, or the way they had hoped that it would fall. And you end up with Aday Mara and Bennett Sturts.
Yeah, here's the thing about Oklahoma City as well. Like, I always like to bring up this point. They could draft literally anybody, and it would be like, well, what about so-and-so that's on the roster, right? And so that's just
totally.
That's where they're at right now. Now, one thing that is important to bring up is they've only moved one player of their 15. So they actually don't have a roster spot for both of these players, big picture. So somebody else will have to be moved to make room for both Mara and Bennett Sturts. But one thing I said, Sam, and we've talked about, and you brought it up in terms of, AJ Mitchell was out, Jalen Williams was out in the playoffs. They, of all teams, are in position to try to cover as many potential holes or possibilities as they possibly can, right? And to me, this is them saying, like, we're not going to let this happen, right? Like, even with injuries, we're also going to have Bennett Sturts, here ready to come into the game, or, in the rotation, or, waiting. So it will be interesting how it plays out. Like, when does he get his opportunity and all of that? But if I'm Oklahoma City, I feel good about, hey, now I can do whatever I need to do at the big rotation. And I've just added yet another ball handler, depending on what I need to do with my, all of my ball handlers. So, and to your point, I'm interested to see what he looks like playing more off the ball. Cause I think he can really, really shoot, but like, it's not easy going from the role he's played the last 4 years to then playing a ton off the ball or whatever. So I do think it will be interesting.
Okay. So the last thing I want to call out here is that Oklahoma City obviously has to keep cutting money. And I do wonder if this ends up being a circumstance where Nikola Topic might be in a mechanism to do that, because he can essentially be an expiring salary for somebody, and can be a situation where, they cut $5.5 million off of their books next year, not cut him, but like trade him into somebody's space that is interested in taking a flyer on Nikola Topic, because teams should be willing to do this and take a flyer on him here.
And Topic had the injury recently, right? Like he had a back surgery or something like that, on top of, everything else he's gone through in his young career as well, which like,
here we go.
Much more serious. So glad he's feeling better.
Okay. So I wouldn't call this a surprise necessarily, but it is an interesting pick. The Memphis Grizzlies, or the Oklahoma City Thunder for the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are getting 2 second-round picks for this, by the way. They're taking Abuka Okori. So,
interesting.
Look, I had Okori on the big board at number 19. So I had him 2 spots ahead of Sturts. We're into that zone now where we're like firmly into like, hey, this next little group could kind of go in any order, and I don't really have a problem with it, right? So, okay. Okori is up now, and this is interesting. Big time rim pressure guy. For the record here on Okori, sorry, I'm getting a couple of text messages and I'm curious what's going on here. So Okori's rim pressure is the big key of all of this.
Yeah.
He thrives out of ball screens. He's a genuinely elite level playmaker with the ball in his hands. He has an incredibly low center of gravity, and his handle is elite. It is a monster handle. He is able to get in and out of those tight creases and crevices and get paint touches better than, I would argue, maybe anybody in this class. Even ahead of like Darius Acuff and ahead of some of these other lead guards, he gets paint touches better than anybody else. Now, what does that mean? We'll find out. And Bryce, I think that we have an update here on a trade, actually.
Okay.
I'm just confirming this before I say it because I want to make sure. So the Grizzlies are moving back from number 17 to 21. So this is for the Detroit Pistons are getting Abuka Okori. So the Grizzlies have acquired 5 second-round picks to move from number 16 to number 21.
So Detroit gave up 3 second round.
He knows how to work the board, man. Good for him. That's awesome.
So the Pistons gave up 3 second-round picks to go up and get Okori?
Yes.
Wow.
How about that, man? Bryce, tell me all about Abuka Okori for the Pistons. This is the kind of guy that we wanted. We wanted like a guard who could really get paint touches and play on the ball. Now, the key is, can Okori shoot? If Okori can shoot, things get interesting.
This was actually, for me, my least favorite of the 4 guards, if I'm being quite honest. So
where did you have Okori on your board?
No. So I don't think it's a bad play in terms of I had Okori 22 on my board. I don't think it's a bad play in regards to that. For Detroit specifically, I liked Phylon, Anderson, or Sturts more than Okori. So what was my only thing? I think Okori's a good player. This is interesting to me that not only to draft him, but to move up. Now they had multiple extra second round picks, so that seemed like I don't think that that's a huge deal, but I am surprised. And my struggle with this is like, where do all of these on-ball reps come for him? Here's my thing. People are going to scream at me, multiple ball handlers. I get it. If you are,
I'm going to scream at you, multiple ball handlers.
So I'm going to scream back. You have to have space off the ball, and the ball should be in Cade Cunningham's hands. So, like, if you really believe in Abuka Okori's ability to play with Cade as an off the ball player, or maybe it's just like, hey, he's going to be the backup point guard and he gets the 12 to 15 minutes or whatever, that Cade's not on the floor.
Bryce, for me, and look, it might not be this year, right? But like, to move from 21 to 17 to take Okori at 17, Trajan Langdon has to have the vision that these two can play together, I think.
And here's all I'll say is I struggle to see that same vision. That's what I'll say. Now, I hope I'm wrong for the Pistons. Like, I hope Okori is just better being able to knock down shots and play off the ball and all of that than what I'm giving him credit for. And I think if he is, then it's awesome. I'm also just like, what's the defense as well? You know, like, is that, where's that going to be? But
so,
in terms,
I thought he was better defensively than like Phylon was this year.
I would bet on Phylon's defense above Okori's.
I don't know, because I think that Okori has like a much better lower center of gravity.
That's
and
fair.
Like might be able to hold his line like way better than Phylon can. I thought Phylon as a freshman, like his defensive instincts were better than Okori's defensive instincts this year. But I thought that like this past year when Phylon was a sophomore, I thought he was like really bad defensively.
Yeah.
And yeah, like to me, this vision is like, hey, literally in the Abuka Okori like analysis on the draft guide, I comped him to like Roddy Beaubois and Dennis Schroeder. And we've seen what the Schroeder thing looks like for Detroit, right? And like, if there's one thing with Cade that we can complain about, like one thing, he doesn't get deep into the paint, right? Like he tends to operate more at the elbows. He tends to operate like more in that mid-post, mid-range area. Okori like gets deep into the paint and can like really be able to break down defenders in that way. And I think if you put him in space, there's a chance this really works.
So here's what I'll say. I agree with you. I think there's a chance it really works. I also think there's a chance it does not go very well also. But I get it. Like, need more ball handling, need more rim pressure. Like, sure. Spacing continues to be an issue for the Detroit Pistons. There's a whole offseason left, right? So like, but you're probably locked in. Here's my thing. How confident are you when the ball is in Cade Cunningham's hands whenever 3 of the 4 guys off the ball are Abuka Okori, Asar Thompson, Jalen Darryn? And that might not be an Abuka Okori issue, but that is a Detroit Piston like lineup right now. I have concerns about that. So
like, I just don't think Okori is going to play much next year is the thing though. Like this team's pretty deep and it seems like they want to go out and acquire like a real star guard in some respect. Right. So like, to me, it's more about, okay, can we get Okori as a shooter at some point? Can we figure this out for him to be that level of shooter and scorer?
Maybe I'm also just like higher on Danis Jenkins as well, where I'm like, I would just rather.
Yeah, I like Danis Jenkins. It's true.
Like, so again, I think this can really work. I want to be clear. And I think Abuka Okori is very good. I just didn't love his fit with Detroit. It could. Here's the other thing. Maybe Cade's willing to give up the ball a little bit more and play a little bit more off the ball and in that world, I will listen to this. He has more energy to play defense and rebound and all of those things. If Okori is that good on the ball that they can do that, then this ends up being even better. So I understand the idea. It's just not what I would have done.
We have pick number 18. The Charlotte Hornets have selected Christian Anderson at number 18. And we're just going, hey, I love it. Let's go get more shooting. Let's go get more ball screen playmaking. This is something we talked about in the mock draft.
It wasn't Anderson, though. Who was it? It was somebody different.
But like,
was it Anderson?
We might have taken Sturts for them, I think, honestly.
I think that's right.
And I think we took Anderson at 16. But look, Anderson does 2 things exceptionally well. He is this draft's best shooter for me, point blank. He is a lights out shooter. He hit 41.5% of his threes on 8 3-point attempts per game. He has an absolutely pure jumper off the catch. He has NBA range out to like 30 feet with a lightning quick release. He drilled 42% of his pull-up threes. And then on top of it, he also drilled, he passed off like 7 assists per game or 8 assists per game. Like, the level to which Christian Anderson is a terrific ball screen playmaker that builds upon itself because of that gravity that he has as a shooter is exceptionally real. And I am a big fan of what he's going to bring to the table for this Hornets team, because anytime you can just take a little bit more pressure off LaMelo Ball on the ball, I think it's pretty valuable.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it with the 3-point shooting from Christian Anderson. I think the question here is going to be, guys that really break down the defense and pressure the rim. And I don't know that that's the best thing that Christian Anderson does, but he is a guy that can play on the ball. He can do a little bit of creation and stuff like that. But the shot making, I think, is kind of the biggest sell for him. I do think he's like under control, makes the right play, does some of those things. Obviously is a little bit smaller. I think, when you look at the wingspan on some of these guys, like I was even looking at that at a Corey and like, what his wingspan is. Christian Anderson has 6'6" wingspan. So I think that's very, very good. So I think this is fine here. We definitely are getting this run on these guards that we mentioned. It's kind of interesting how this is playing out. I think a lot of the things we thought, I think the guy here for me that's starting to fall just a little bit is Cam Carr as we get this, because this is back-to-back guards, right? Anderson and Corey Sturts, not in that order, but one more left with Phylon, and then we get into Cam Carr, and then I wonder if we start seeing some of the bigs come off the board yet again.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here at 19. Do we know what happens in 19?
I have not looked yet.
Okay, so with Christian Anderson, with the Charlotte Hornets, what I wonder if this says is about Kobe White. Could this mean that Kobe White, they think, could be on the move somewhere?
Yeah. Which is something you had mentioned.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it was like a certainty that he was returning necessarily. Yeah. So I think that Kobe White could be the piece here. So Cam Carr available, LeBaron Phylon available, just to run through who's available on my board, the best players. Look, Koa Peat is the best player available on my board. I do not expect him to go until the 20s, right? Cam Carr next at 18, LeBaron Phylon at 20, and then we get into like Jaden Quaintance, Joshua Jefferson, Karim Lopez, Chris Cenac. Remember the Karim Lopez lottery hype that people seem to be excited about, that I tried to tell people was a little bit questionable? Yeah, we're 18 picks through. How about that?
Yeah. We're also now in Alan Graves' watch, right? Like everybody's favorite Alan Graves. This is where I think it starts for him.
Yeah, this is the area of the draft where I had kind of been told to watch for Graves, particularly. Right in this 18 to 20 range. I am not the biggest Graves fan. We'll talk about him when he gets drafted. I would assume he's going to go tonight. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Yep. So all of the trade stuff is we're good, right? So Oklahoma City moved up to 16 with 2 second round picks. Sturts is there. Memphis moved back to 17 and then moved back to 21. Detroit moved up to 17 with 3 second round picks to draft Abuko Okori. And then Memphis they'll be on the clock here in a couple picks at 21. And then we got the Christian Anderson at 18 pick to the Hornets. So just for anybody joining us now or, that missed that as we were kind of going through it and it was all coming through live, which again, like we still have a ton of people watching right now, which is incredible. And we're getting some shout outs on social media. So appreciate everybody that's tuned into the coverage over here. And I will quickly mention Sam will be back tomorrow night as well with a special guest that is not me for the entirety of the second round also. So make sure you come back and watch that over here.
Okay. So Alan Graves is going 19.
There we
to
go.
the Toronto Raptors, which is something. Did we do that in the mock?
We did.
I told you that I think that was happening. So I had him in the Athletic mock. I had him going 18, but I literally noted that like all three of the Hornets, Raptors, and Spurs had significant interest here in Graves.
I think we ended up doing it. We talked about some other names, but I think we ended up going Graves. I want to quickly be clear, like this is higher than I would have Graves, but it does make a lot of sense for the Raptors. So
the Raptors, it feels like to me, with Colin Murray-Boyles, with Jamal Shedd, with like even Elijah Martin, Chucky Hepburn, they're really putting a lot of stock into guys who like maximize possessions, into guys who really pop on models, frankly. Alan Graves really pops on models, obviously. I'm intrigued by this fit. Like, they just keep accumulating these guys that are like 6'7" who make shit happen, frankly. So I don't know what to make of that necessarily, but here's why I don't like Graves, or I'm like less high on Graves. I have Graves at 30 on my board. Like it's fine. It's not the worst pick in the world. When you look at his production again, well, let's talk about the good. Can you talk about the good, Bryce, before I talk about the negative?
So I think what people really like about his game and like where the analytics especially he is a guy that came off the bench in what is actually his redshirt freshman year. He redshirted his first year at Santa Clara.
Came off the bench as the backup center, to be clear.
Yeah. Yes. Shot 41% from three on 2.5 attempts, averaged almost 2 steals and 1 block in those 22.5 minutes per game. And so I think what people see or envision is a highly skilled offensive player that can space the floor, which we need to come back to the jumper at some point when we get to the more negative stuff, that a player that can pass the basketball a little bit. And then a guy that I think people will just instantly go as a good defender. They're like, oh, well, look at the stock numbers. I'm sure the steal and block rates are just outlandish for him compared to freshmen and all of that stuff.
Rebounding as well. Offensive rebounding is a big piece of this too.
And I think the offensive rebounding is real for what it's worth. Like that's one thing, like in terms of like, he really understands positioning and anticipation and getting to the right spots and all of that. So that is I think the pitch is a 4-man that is skilled offensively and then is good defensively. The issue comes in when you really start looking into where he played and how he played this last year at Santa Clara and where the numbers really came from in terms of competition, which I'll let you take over for that.
Okay, so just not like an amazing athlete, first and foremost. Doesn't have a lot of twitch, doesn't have like a ton of vertical lift, right? Amazing hand-eye coordination, like unbelievable hand-eye coordination that allows him to be effective. Mostly played at the 5, played only about 160 minutes this year at the 4. Santa Clara lost those minutes when he played at the 4, despite the fact that they typically beat their opponents by 14 points per 100 possessions. Against good competition, Graves's numbers just like absolutely plummet. So Santa Clara played 16 games against quad 1 and 2 teams. They played 18 games against quad 3 and 4 teams. His effective field goal percentage was 65.3 in the quad 3 and 4 games versus 50.4 in the quad 1 and 2 games. His offensive rebounding rate dropped from 16% to 11% in the quad 1 and 2 games. His block rate fell from 6% to 4%. His 2-point percentage dropped from 62.9% to 50%. His 3-point percentage dropped from 46% to 34%. And when you just watch him on tape, like you can see that the athleticism gap there was pretty real, I thought. So I don't know. Like it's hard because I love the feel. I love the quick decision making. Like he makes unbelievably quick decisions on the court and really helps his team stay in flow, really helps his team, create more efficient offense. And the thing about Toronto as a fit is that I think Darko Rajakovic is an unbelievable coach at getting these guys who make 0.5 decisions to work. He loves dribble, pass, shoot, and think. Those are the things that like really work for him. So I think if Graves is going to work, this is literally like the best possible place for him to go. So in that vein, like you would expect me to come on and destroy a team taking the guy that I've ranked 30th at 19th. I kind of can't do that because I think it really fits their scheme in a way that makes sense at the very least. I just don't think the player is as talented as other players at the end of the day.
Did you give the minutes at center versus the minutes at the 4?
He played 160 minutes at the 4 this year. I don't know how many minutes he played at the 5.
Yeah.
But he played like, what would that be? 4 minutes a game at the 4, basically.
So I think the idea here is, for me, if they lose Sandro Mamukelashvili, the idea is then like he slots into that role, which has been an important role for him. And Sandro's a really good player. And for them, like in their offseason preview, we decided we would just try to move Grady Dick so we could keep Sandro Mamukelashvili. Now it depends on what the Mamu contract ends up being from another team and all of that. Like they don't have full control over that. But if they lose Mamukelashvili, the idea here, and I would understand, is, okay, we take a similar type of player and now he can play into that role, and they've had success with him. So again, this is one of the teams where I understand them taking him this high, even though I do have him a little bit lower on my board, as do you.
And the other thing is defensively, they like to play this like wildly aggressive style with like,
Great
hey,
point.
we're going to really pressure the ball coming up the court. We're going to fly around and help with Colin Murray Boyles and Scotty Barnes. Like, I actually think that that's a scheme that Graves can thrive in. So again,
point.
like, I actually do think, for as much as like I have my questions on Allen Graves, I think this is genuinely the best fit for him. Honestly, this might be the best fit like in the league for him of like any team that works. And it's a credit to the Raptors for recognizing that.
Yeah. And here's what I will say is like just kind of my tiers. Cam Carr is the player I have left that like I still think teams are passing on, maybe for not much longer. But like tiers wise, I'm okay if like Toronto just says like this is a great fit, even if some of these other players are more talented or whatever. The defensive point is really good with the disruption.
Okay, Bryce, we have like a bit of a surprise for me, to be honest with you. Our first player not in the green room has been selected. Jaden Quaintance has gone 20th to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
This is okay. So Jaden Quaintance, if it wasn't for the torn ACL that he suffered in March or February of 2025 and then had surgery and missed a large portion of this season. If it wasn't for that, this is a lottery pick. This is a guy that is a genuine, ridiculous defensive talent. I'm not joking when I say that I think that he is like in the top 3 or 4 guys for me, along with like Chet and a couple of others, in terms of his instincts in ball screen defense. The way that he'll like jab step at offensive players and like try to confuse the space and then like be able to play in recovery with his 7'5" wingspan. It's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable ball screen defender. I'm just going to tell you, Bryce, like I talked to a number of teams that were very worried about the medicals. Like, I don't know about like the flagging situations, right? But I would guess that he was not a player that was on the board for everybody. It's not to say that, look, the thing about medicals in the NBA draft are that some teams are really, conservative with them. Some teams are willing to be more aggressive with them. Some teams are more willing to be like, hey, we have a plan. Let's handle this. Right. And the Spurs with Luke Cornett around for next year, at least, they can afford to be as patient as humanly possible with Jaden Quaintance.
Yep.
And that's amazing for them, I think. So the player is an awesome defense. Like he is, to me, the best. He has the highest upside defensively of any player in the draft, point blank. If it works out, it's going to work out at an elite level defensively. But he has to prove that he can stay on the court, and we'll see where it goes.
this was one of those spots for acquaintance where is like, if he doesn't go here, the drop is going to continue a little bit further than what people might think, even with the talent, because I think we're going to get into a range of teams that need bigs, but I don't think could afford to wait on him and take a chance on the medicals, right? Like, I think all of Philly, Atlanta, New York, the Lakers, the Nuggets, I think I could even make the argument for Boston. I know we took him for Boston, but I think all of those teams could take, even Brooklyn now with trading Nick Claxton at you could go every pick here on out essentially could take a big, right? And I could argue that maybe none of them, Brooklyn could, but would want to wait on, hey, if he needs kind of a redshirt year or just take the chance on the medicals. I think you said it perfectly. San Antonio can. Like, ultimately, with Wembanyama, with Luke Cornett on a great contract, but a very movable and diverse contract in terms of the non-guarantees, they can move him at any point if all of a sudden Quaintance comes in and he is healthy and he is able to give you real backup center minutes. That's either a tradable contract or we'll just, we'll get off of it and, take the cap space. So I do think that this was one of those teams in this range that was just able to take this. It is a little bit of a risk, even at 20, but I think it's understandable whenever you talk about the upside that Quaintance has.
I will also say this about Quaintance. Like, he is not a perfect offensive prospect. Like, he is not, even before the knee injury, he was not all that vertical, right? He is not a guy that is a shooter, really. Like, his touch numbers have never been particularly good, even though the mechanics are not egregiously bad, to be honest with you. He can pass. Like, I actually think his passing numbers, like 1.5 assists per game, kind of underrates his passing ability at Arizona State. And he is very young. Like, he's exceptionally young still. I think that he is, July 11, 2007. So, like, he turns 19 here in a week, you know what I mean? Or in 2 weeks. So there's a lot of time. Like, he has a ton of time to be able to try and figure this out. It's just not a perfect prospect. Honestly, though, like, darn near a perfect defensive prospect if it hits. Like, he is a monster on defense. His timing as a rim protector is elite. His ability to cover ground is fantastic. Like, I am a big fan of his defensive game. The offense is a real work in progress, but the defense is something quite special. And honestly, like, when people were bringing up Victor Wembanyama stoppers, right? Like, he was the one in this class that I thought was really good. And now he's just with Victor Wembanyama. So teams don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point to bring up with the offense and that's not like fully realized and all of that. And I think part of that is like, he didn't get a chance to really grow from his freshman to his sophomore year, right? Like, this totally. I made this point with GMAC on Nick's film school because somebody was like, he's a below the 50% free throw shooter. I'm like, yes, fair point. He also didn't get an offseason between his freshman and sophomore year to improve as a 17-year-old freshman. You know what I mean? So, like, he's one of the harder evals because I just don't know what he would look like offensively right now if it wasn't for the injuries, let alone what the injury may mean long-term. So, it is tough, but the defensive tape is, and again, another quick shout out. I have a breakdown over on the best game series over on the Substack. There's a Jaden Quaintance breakdown. It's from 18 months ago when he was a freshman at Arizona State early in the year against Florida. But for Spurs fans, it is over there. You guys can go check it out.
Okay, so here we go. Number 21. Karim Lopez.
Which is the Grizzlies.
Karim Lopez going to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
Interesting player here, right? Not a player I'm like in love with necessarily, but a player who can really downhill drive to the rim and a player who gives them like a bit more depth, I would guess, at the 4. They must really envision him as a 3, I would venture here.
I would disagree with that assessment, but yep.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with your assessment that they must be thinking of him as a 3, because it's like, I think he's a forward. I don't love this as much whenever you just drafted Cam Boozer number 3, right? Like,
yeah.
there's a little bit of overlap, I think, is our point here, unless you think he can play the 3. And then there still is there because of Cedric Coward, but you're not drafting starters right now.
To be clear, this is like a bit of a reach for me, but it's not that big of a reach. Like I had him at 24, they're taking him at 21, right? Would I have taken Cam Carr, like without question, to be honest with you? But I will say this, like he is somebody that is really effective at just putting his shoulder into you and getting to the rim. He is really aggressive at attacking the basket. He is somebody who is like can handle the ball for his size is the thing. Like he is very comfortable handling the ball. I really struggle with this because like I watch him and I watch Koa Peat, right? And Koa Peat is just better at kind of everything that he does. Karim is a better chance to shoot. But Koa Peat is just like a better version of this, in my opinion. And that's what's interesting to me. The problem for me is that Karim is not a great defender. I will tell you that like when you talk to teams around the NBL, which living here I do, they thought he was like the worst defender in the league for the first half of the season this year. He got better throughout the course of the year, and that's a credit to him. He also had a back injury earlier in the year that like he worked through and everything, but yeah. Interesting player, Karim Lopez. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I get what they're doing. It's just not for me, I think is the way to put it.
So I'm trying not to just be just take Cam Carr, I think is my thing at this point, but Karim, physical player. To me, he's more of a forward than a wing. Does do something like I think you mentioned this, being able to play with the ball in his hands a little bit, like can operate a ball screen and those type of things. Was using multiple play types as the ball screen handler, roller. He can cut, go screen, transition. Like is able to do those things. I think I noted here like his guarded versus unguarded catch and shoot 3-point percentages are pretty drastic in that like when he was unguarded, much better percentage than when he was guarded, which is true for most players, but I think his were pretty drastic. I can pull those up if we continue to talk about him before moving on. I do think he like understands how to play off the ball with his cutting and being impactful on the offensive boards. Like you said, I think the defense was pretty poor early in the year. I thought it got a little bit better. I think he'll be aggressive off the ball defensively. I think he'll like have highlight plays off the ball defensively. I do worry a little bit of just like sit down, guard, and the solid things, especially at the point of attack defensively.
This is actually a good question for me. So like, I think the Grizzlies did a really good job of working the board here. So they get 5 additional second round picks, right? For moving down from 16 to 21. So the question is, would I rather have the guys that went in this range, like Bennett, Sturtz, Christian Anderson, Abuko Okori, etc. Or would I rather have Karim Lopez and 5 second round picks? I think I might rather have Lopez in 5 seconds. Like, I think that's actually like a pretty big value difference to me in terms of what they are.
Yeah. I was going to say because 5 seconds could get you back up into the top of the second round with players that we think might be there, but they're already at the top.
It might get you 26 or something. Like,
sure. Yeah. So yeah, if somebody was there that and you use 32 in a couple seconds or 3 seconds to go get 26 from the Nuggets or something like that, or obviously they can use them in future. I don't know if any of those seconds are in this draft or not. I assume they're not. I have no idea, but, maybe it helps you out next year, right? Like, I think these next drafts are going to look similar in turn. Well, maybe not. Hopefully next year's draft has roughly 35 players that similar to what we like this year, or, have draftable grades or rostered grades or whatever. And so, yeah, if that helps you get in and you can use 4 of them to go get pick 31 next year, or to your point, you get 29 by using all 5 of them. There is value in that. So I think that's probably fair, Sam. I think you're probably right. Cause even though I like these other players more than Karim Lopez, they are all in kind of the same tier for me. So it'd be hard for me to say that the 5 second rounders aren't more valuable.
And look, like, would this like situation be a home run for me if they had taken Koa Peat? And it's like, I get Koa Peat in 5 second rounders. Again, like, you can say that Karim Lopez is a better shooter than Koa Peat. I think Koa Peat just literally is better at basketball at like every other skill than Karim Lopez is, despite them being like right around the same age. But you know what? I can't hate the like moving down the board. Like, I think that they worked the board well. And even if I don't love the player, they're ending the night with Cam Boozer. So like, who the hell cares?
I think,
you know what I mean?
I think to your point here, I think in general, the process is fine in terms of moving down the board. I think for you, the name that's going to continue to stick is Koa Peat. The name for me, actually, I'll give you 2 names. And they're just guys I'm obviously higher on than the NBA is. If they would have taken Cam Carr or LeBaron Philon, I would have felt a lot better about it. Like that, I think that's what it is. It's just like the personal board and preference of the player they ended up taking. The overall process makes plenty of sense.
So the 76ers here have taken one of those players. They have taken LeBaron Philon at number 22.
Who did we do this with? We did this. Was it Ibuka? We brought up.
I think it was we talked about Okori for them. But yeah, like, here's the thing with the Sixers that like nobody was talking about.
Yeah.
They have like 1 1/4 ball handlers on their roster. Like, if you think VJ can play point guard, I'll give you the quarter, right? But like, he's more of an off guard at the end of the day. They had like nobody else who could play on the ball beside Tyrese Maxey. So I think this pick actually makes way more sense and we talked about this at the time. Like, this makes way more sense than what I think people around the league and everything will think. And now, like, here's the question to ask. Would you rather have LeBaron Philon and 3 second round picks or Jared McCain?
Oh, is that what this is?
Yes.
I mean, I think you just take Jared McCain because he's a known commodity. As much as I love Philon, like, I just know Jared McCain can play in the NBA. There's a world where LeBaron Philon doesn't play in the NBA. Like, as much as I like LeBaron Philon, I will readily admit that.
I think I'd rather have Philon in 3 seconds, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
Like, I love Jared McCain, and I've always really loved Jared McCain. I think he's a terrific basketball player. I think he's going to be an awesome NBA player moving forward. I think LeBaron Philon's quite good too. Like, I have very similar grades on them entering the draft, and you tell me that I get like multiple picks in addition to that.
The other aspect of it is like the contract situation now as well. Like, that's a factor also where you have Philon on, you know, the rookie scale contract for what would it be, 2 more years, right? Than what McCain's
correct. Now I get 4 more years of Philon versus 2 cheap years of McCain.
Correct. Like it is a factor, you know, like that makes sense. So, listen, I like LeBaron Philon a lot. And I think a lot of it comes down to, Sam, if I can get freshman year defense, and I know you don't like whenever I say this, and I understand why, but if I can get freshman year defense Philon with sophomore year offense Philon, that is a lottery pick. Now, he didn't do that, which is why he wasn't. And I completely understand it. But what I really appreciate is he's shown an ability to do the on and off the ball stuff. He came back to Alabama and he went 50, 40, 80 from the field. Like, we talk about the numbers that Darius Acuff put up. LeBaron Philon, and I realize he was a sophomore, put up 22 points, 5 assists on those shooting splits. And he improved the 3-point shooting while increasing the volume, got to the free throw line almost 3 times as much as his freshman season. Like, I think LeBaron Philon is really, really good. He's going to have to continue to add weight and strength. And I think that will be a huge part of not only his offense, but also his defense. But I think at this part of the draft, this is great value.
I think it's good value here. Item 20, he is quite skinny. Like, that's a real issue for me. And he needs to be able to triangulate. Like, I need to be able to play offense and defense at the same time, which he has not done yet in his career, right? He needs to be able to show like the defensive instincts that were awesome last year, where he consistently took on the toughest assignment defensively, right? Against different teams for Alabama. He needs to showcase that he can get back to that level. If he does that and like is able to take on just like even a little bit less offensive load or anything, I think this is going to be pretty good. Now, I will say this. We are like one pick away from the Knicks like hitting potentially the jackpot here if Cam Carr goes 24.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because like if they're like Landry Shamet and Jordan Clarkson deals like running out, man, if Cam Carr falls to 24, that's a big get for the Knicks.
Yeah, he was not the player. I think he's going to end up being the player that ends up the biggest gap between where I had them ranked and where they get drafted. I always have one every year. I think it was Dalton Connect, and then it was Kasparis. I didn't think it was going to be Cam Carr. I actually thought it was going to be Swain. So this is kind of interesting that he's going to end up being that player for me this year.
Yeah. So what? We're at
23.
We're at 23.
The Hawks went guard, so I assume they're going big here. Like this is the scenario we've played out for over a month, right? The game out, like, do you go guard at 8 and then you still like the bigs that are there at 23, or do you go big at 8? And the guards wouldn't have been available, Sam. Like, this is something, again, we talked about this months ago. The guards would not have been here at 23 if they would have went big at 8. If, where we felt like those are the two kind of positions they would be looking at. So, but Tarris Reed Jr. is here. Cenac is here. Zuby's here, Henri Vesar's here. So they played this well. They have their choice of whichever one they want. Yep,
that's right. I think I know who it is, but I'm going to kind of let that.
I think I saw as well.
Play out. Who did you see?
I saw Zuby.
Yeah, that's the name I just got in my text messages. So I'm going to assume that it's that. Yeah, so Scotto's saying it's Zuby. So Zuby Ejiofor at number 23. Bryce, tell me about Zuby Ejiofor.
Just to start off, like, this is not what I would have done. This is definitely higher than what I would have Ejiofor. But here's what I will say. Here's what you're getting in Ejiofor. You're getting a monster offensive rebounder. Like, I think offensively, especially, like, that's the thing I'm most confident in. I think other people think he's like has a real skill level to potentially space the floor, and he did show some of the passing ability, like definitely this last year at St. John's. But to me, the biggest thing is the offensive rebounding. This is the other fun rebounding stat, Sam. Do you know that Zuby Ejiofor had more offensive rebounds in his college career than defensive rebounds? He had more.
I did actually. Yeah.
So this was the other fun one. And then defensively, like, it plays extremely hard. All of those things, has real disruption, and just like some real movement ability. So like maybe a guy that's going to be able to be switchable and all of that. The reason I was interested in this is, like, I don't think him and Onyeka Okongwu are the same player, but there does seem just to be a little bit more overlapping of like these 4-5s or 5-4s. I thought maybe they would go just straight 5-man, like a straight center.
Yeah, I'm actually somewhat surprised by that as well. I thought the guys with like real center size would be more valuable here, frankly. Or they would be more valued, maybe is the way to put it here. Because they have Onyeka, like you said, but maybe they're just going to kind of lean into switching everything, right?
Sure.
And playing a little bit bigger. I don't know. That's an interesting pick. You're 100% right. He chases the glass like nobody's business. Really improved as a passer this year too. I do want to call that out. Started to see the floor out of post-ups much better. I think he dished out like 3.5 assists per game, somewhere in that ballpark. Just a really, really just well-rounded player. You just wish he was a little bit bigger. And I'm worried about how he's going to score at the NBA level.
Yeah.
Like, he's really going to have to shoot it, I think. Otherwise, it's going to turn into like a bit more of a like Isaiah Stewart kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Where it's like, does a little bit of everything, crashes the offensive glass, can really help you on the defensive end because he's super switchable. St. John's ran just a straight switch scheme a lot of the time for the most part. So very comfortable with that. It's like if you combined for me, like Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed almost. And that's like a backup to me. It's a good backup player, and I really like the player. But yeah, that's kind of where it's at for me.
Yeah. My number that's concerning to me is he was 48% on layups in the half court. Like for a big, like that was a little bit worrisome. I would like, he's my first non-top 30 player. Like I have him at 31, but he's my first non-top 30 player that's been drafted. So, like I even would have understood Vasar for the Hawks. Like, hey, you know, like somebody that like spaces the floor and, you know, really valuing that. So I'm a little surprised.
Yeah. I had him at 28. So we're still in there. We're through 23 picks and nobody has gone crazy here, Bryce. Let's see if we can get through.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can just, you know, not lose our minds here for a little bit. So no one outside of my top 30 yet. We're rolling right along. Yeah, the Knicks at 24. Let's see what happens here. I'm excited.
So on the board, like Cam Carr, Tarris Reed, Koa Peat, like those three guys are like by far my best players available. Like those are guys that teams should be excited about drafting at this point. The Knicks, I think, could go any one of those three, don't you think? Like Cam Carr makes a ton of sense. I think Tarris Reed Jr. makes a ton of sense. Koa Peat is a guy that you could play with. Karl Anthony Towns would make a ton of sense. So,
my name here just has to be Cam Carr for them, given the potential of, hey, like we might lose Landry Shamet and Jordan Clarkson. Like I would want the shooters here if it's the Knicks, which people are kind of saying the Lakers are moving up. I haven't seen that yet. Has anybody seen that yet?
I saw that in a chat that I assume is getting it from somewhere, that the Lakers were traded, which this would be another one of those unique one spots. So this would be another one where New York was obviously getting some offers for this 24th pick. And I would assume we see something similar, right? A couple second round picks. I don't know what the Lakers draft capital situation is, but a couple second round picks for the Lakers to go up one spot.
Yeah. So they're, so New York is trading number 24 to the Lakers for number 25. Honestly, if I'm New York here, and this is really funny, even like the small difference, and Shams has said this, by the way, that the number 24 for 25 is happening. I don't know what else they're getting. Even like the small difference in the rookie scale between number 24 and number 25, to where like if you knew what the Lakers were doing, and you told them like, hey, we're going to do a deal with another team, like, do you want to come up and get 24? It like probably saves them $500,000 or so, like in terms of tax payments and everything. But I'm going to guess they're going to get a second round or two out of this. I don't have the pick yet. I don't know who it is.
I have,
but yeah, Shams is saying 24 for 25 here is happening. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see who this is. Best players available for me for what it's worth. We've got Koa Peat. We've got Cam Carr, I believe, is going to be best for me. And then Joshua Jefferson and Chris Cenac. Those are the only players left in this like 16 to 25 tier that I had. Let's see here. This is interesting. It's a very interesting situation to see who they're going to take.
Yeah.
I mean, could be like a big, could be like a Cenac, a Tarris Reed, you know, couple people have asked me like if I think it could be Koa Peat. I don't know that. Like I'm, you know, maybe people are just thinking like I'm the Koa Peat guy, so they're asking me about Koa Peat. Like, I don't know. Okay, number 24, New York Knicks are selecting Cameron Carr for the LA Lakers. Honestly, amazing fit for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, you need a shooter. Cam Carr can shoot the ball, man. Like that, I believe. I have some questions in terms of strength. I have some questions in terms of physicality, but 19 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 49, 37, 80. Looks the part of an NBA wing, 6'4.5" with a 7'1" wingspan. Big time shooter. I like the pick in general for the Lakers. I think it's a really good one. And we'll see what they gave up to move up a spot. But yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you get floor spacing, right? Like this is what you want around Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves. Whatever they end up doing at the center position. This does make me like, I can't help but wonder, like, what if, I wonder what their plan is for that. Is this something that they could end up moving for a center at some point? I know we saw something like Gafford or whatever, like, is this something that could end up happening there? But if Cam Carr stays on the team, a big time athlete, a guy, again, that can really space, I do have concerns defensively as well. And, how is he going to hold up physically at cutoff points?
Just really struggles to hold his line defensively.
Yes.
Is the key. Really struggles to hold his line, gets powered through, will block shots. Like he will go see ball, get ball at times and has some decent timing on the weak side. But, he's a buckets and bunches guy where if he's hot, it looks amazing. If he's not a guy that's like super valuable.
Yeah. Nope. Can get out in transition. Like that's going to be another play type for him, like with that athleticism. But I think a guy that hopefully will be able to come off the bench for them and, provide, like you said, some scoring in bunches, and the floor spacing that you need around those guys. So I think at this point in the draft, that makes a ton of sense for them, especially if they feel like, they seem confident in whatever their plans are for the center rotation and not needing to go that in the draft.
I mean, I will say this too. Like, you have Luka Doncic, you're figuring out what to do with Austin Reeves. Like, if that's your core, if that's your two, Cam Carr on defense is...
This is fair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, you need to build an infrastructure defensively, but, at the same token, I don't know that they had like a ton of great options in that respect either.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if LA is going to be able to do this in 1 year. You know what I mean? Like all of the things they need. I just wonder if it's going to be one of those, like, I do wonder if this takes a couple off seasons for them to really build out, the full roster, get the defense, get the floor spacing, get the center rotation figured out. You may just have to chip away at that a little bit. I think with Carr, at least he theoretically is going to do one of those things in terms of spacing the floor.
Okay, so Shams just went on TV, and I had to turn the sound up, so I have no idea what you just said. But like,
it wasn't important.
Yeah. So Shams just went on TV. The Knicks did trade 24 for 25 straight up. Like that's all that happened here.
Nice.
And so the Lakers just move up one spot for free to get Cam Carr.
So New York can save money.
What Shams is saying is that they're trying to trade 25 now as well.
Oh.
So they're looking for an offer. So I think it was a thing where like they probably ran out of time and they were like, hey, do you guys want to go? Like, we'll just let you guys move up. You guys can have your pick and then figure it out. That's what Shams is saying, at least. It's very funny. It's very, very funny.
That's wild. They can't get anybody to give a second round pick. Well, I guess maybe I guess that means.
Well, it could be that they want to stay in the first round and I don't know. Yeah.
And the funny thing with New York is they're the team at 31, so it's not even like the team at 31. Memphis has already taken 2 first round picks. They may not want to, I'm just looking at the teams at the top of the second, like that may be trying to get back in. Sacramento is one that would, kind of stands out there as maybe 34 and some seconds or something to get back in, but maybe that's too far for New York, to your point. Right. So yeah, interesting.
Okay,
so amazing.
Yeah, it's very funny. I only have one player left in my top 22 at this point. It's Koa Peat. Honestly, I kind of expected that at this point. I did not expect him to go in the top 20 at the very least. Beyond that, Joshua Jefferson, Chris Cenac, Richie Saunders, who we think is probably not going to go tonight, Tarris Reed, Henri Vesar are my only top 30 players left. And then you get into Malik Thomas, De La Rhea, Emmanuel Sharp. So I think we're at like a bit of a pause here and seeing if the Knicks can find something to do or something.
I love
That's where we're at.
I love that the end of the first round is stalling out because the Knicks are trading their one spot back. I bet Knicks film school is freaking out right now, like knowing how amazing their fan base is over there and like just having to stall out on these draft picks. So shout out GMAC and Knicks film school, of course.
It is very funny.
Good time to, again, shout out the Game Theory Substack. Go over there, check out all of our video breakdowns, our draft shows. Every prospect that has been drafted thus far has a video breakdown over there. I promise you it's content that if your team drafted one of these players, you are going to enjoy and learn about that player here over the, heading into Summer League, which is just a couple weeks away, which is really cool about all this is we get to see these players, most of them, if they're healthy, not too long from now.
And we'll do breakdowns of Summer League, or at least I will for sure, while I'm over there. So I'm excited to find that out. This is so funny that the Knicks are just like, hey guys, come take our pick, please. And the pick is in at least at 25. So we know what's happening here on some level.
For somebody.
For somebody, who knows what. This is very amusing to me. Still nothing from any of the like insiders. Like I have no idea. The Knicks received cash considerations for number 24 for what it's worth from the Lakers for 25. So, who knows? We shall see. No idea who's going here. What an amusing set of circumstances. Okay. Scotto has the pick.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, okay, this makes sense actually a little bit. So Scotto is saying that it's going to be, shout out Mike Scotto, it's going to be Sergio De La Rey at number 25. So this is the first player outside of my top 30. I have him at 32. De La Rey is a totally fine pick here in my opinion, especially if they're going to stash him for a year, which I don't know if that's their plan, but we'll find out.
And this is staying. This is the Knicks.
Scotto is saying that he's heading to the New York Knicks as part of the trade. I don't know if that's the plan or not, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we ended up with him. We took him for somebody last night in our mock. So a player I came around on, he played for Valencia last year, was 20 years old. And
I'm sorry.
What happened?
Silver just put so much relish on the hot dog announcing Sergio De La Reya's name. Sergio De La Reya.
How are you doing this? I don't know how you can have volume on both things.
ADHD, Bryce. It's a superpower. We just let it roll.
I would get so distracted. So,
my life is distracted. It's all good.
Shot 39% from three this last year. A guy that can do things, on and off the ball, can definitely play on the ball, do some creation and, operate a ball screen and all of that. But as I mentioned, then, the 3-point shooting. I think the biggest thing for me this year where I came around at least having as like a top 35 guy was the defense. Like I think the defense improved vastly, like a ton from the year before when I watched. And I think that's where I ended up getting him at least in this range.
So ended up with De La Rey at 32. Good player, like very skilled, like you said, Bryce. A player that has a super high basketball IQ, can really shoot and pass, can really knock down shots from the perimeter, 42% from three this year, and 6'6" without shoes. So like really came in a bit bigger than what people expected. Among the international guys, like this was pretty consistently a guy along with Karim Lopez, where it was a lot closer when I would talk to people over in Europe, in terms of who they thought was the better prospect than what people would expect, I think. Right. And I have De La Rey like a little bit lower. I mean, like, honestly, I might have kind of screwed up having him a little bit lower. But I'm curious to know if this is a stash. I don't know if this is a stash. It would potentially make some sense for it to be a stash, to be honest with you, because it could help them stay below the second apron, given that it is a circumstance where, they're saying that they're staying below the second apron. We'll find out. I'm going to kind of ask around here and see what's going on.
So that's De La Rey 25 to the Knicks after trading with the Lakers for cash considerations. We're up at 26 with the Denver Nuggets, which is another interesting one. This is one we've talked about in terms of could they potentially, trade out of this spot, get to the top of the second round or something like that, to same thing the Knicks are talking about, save a little bit of money. So we're down to the final 5 picks here. The Nuggets, Celtics, Brooklyn, who's back in at 28 after the trade with Minnesota, Cleveland, and then Dallas will be there at 30, barring any trades. I think Denver could go a bunch of different ways. I think they're another team that could go big, potentially some of the floor spacing. I think, Koa Peat, Tarris Reed Jr., Cenac, Joshua Jefferson. I think those are some of the best names, left for me. If you want to look a little bit more at the floor spacing, Isaiah Evans, Malik Thomas, Richie Saunders, obviously with the injury, Henri Vesar, obviously a big as well. So those are some of the names here still on the board for the Nuggets.
So my impression is that De La Rey is like a very real potential stash. I would say. We'll see where that goes. But I think like very much in the potential stash ballpark here. Given how much the Knicks were discussing trades beforehand, I wonder if they were like, hey, this is a potential stash situation, and maybe we feel like he's like a valuable asset that we could move, like something like that. Like, I wonder if they're done. You know what I mean? Like, that would be my question. Are they done with all of their moves?
Yeah.
Because they also have 31 is the other thing too. So like they can really kind of, toss some stuff together here and make something work.
Yeah. Sorry, I was checking on some Pistons Abuko Okori stuff. So
yeah. Okay, so De La Rey, good player, like real passer, right? Can dished out 3 assists per game in 14 minutes a night, keeps his eyes up, on his drives, really good at manipulating his defenders with his eyes, I think, like forces help defenders kind of all across the board, really good at finding kickouts, really good touch on lobs. Like there's a way to really make this work, I think, with De La Rey. So I'm fascinated by the lack of movement we've had in this draft so far. I mean, just like a couple of moves, like slightly up and down the board. I kind of wondered if this draft would be one where we saw just a little bit more, because teams are worried about moving future picks, right? So would there be something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, we had the one kind of craziness with Memphis, and then this very simple one with the Knicks and the Lakers, right? That's kind of, now we had other movement ahead of the draft, obviously the Giannis trade and Brooklyn and Minnesota swapping, 28 for 33, but not a whole lot else so far. And I was with you. I thought maybe we would see some of that, but not too much.
Yeah, a little bit surprised by that. Now we got Denver up. Pick is in apparently for Denver. I will say, like, has gone like basically chalk so far, like this draft, right? Like there's been like a couple of here and there surprises maybe, but insane.
No, I don't think much has surprised me. Like we've talked about De La Rey being a first round pick. Zuby was higher than what I would have taken him, but I was prepared for Zuby to go in the 20s. I think I had gotten to the point where like even Morez top 10 wasn't a shock to me. I think Cam Carr probably is the biggest one for me, Sam. Like even me and you having Koa Peat where we both do, which is like a top 20-ish prospect.
No, I knew Koa Peat was not going in the top 20. You know what I mean? Like that was very clear.
Yeah. I think the run on different players, like the second group of guards was kind of what I thought was going to happen. Like maybe not back to back the way that Anderson, Okori, and Sturts did, but Yeah, not like we haven't had the young Hansen. We didn't have that pick, right? That was just like was very, very much out of nowhere, last year. So
okay, so we have a trade.
Okay.
San Antonio, according to Jake Fisher, is moving up from number 35 with 2 seconds to number 26 to take Tarris Reed.
Oh, wow.
So we're just double dipping on centers, baby.
Yeah, no joke.
We're letting it rock. We're going massive. We're going to play Wemby at the 4 now. We're just going crazy here. I do wonder if this could lead to Luke Kornet maybe being available, because I think Reed can come in and play pretty quickly, to be honest with you.
That has to be okay. So here's my question. Do you think it's more likely that it is we're okay moving on from Luke Kornet? Or here's the other thing, maybe they believe between Quaintance and Tarris Reed Jr. they can get the center play they need, and now they can take Kornet and flip him into another wing floor space
a 4 or something. Yeah.
Correct. Or here's my other question. Do you think that maybe this is more Wemby at the 4 minutes? They're just going to go bigger and they feel hey, now we have multiple options to play center with Wemby at the 4.
So I'm just going to be honest with you. I think this is a situation where it's just pure talent. They like the talent of these players more than anything, and they're going with that. They're just taking the guys that they think are best. They're willing to take Quaintance as a player that, we'll find out if he's going to play much, if at all, this year. And then they must have really loved Reed. And they're just hey, we can give up 3 seconds basically to move up to get Tarris Reed. Let's do that. Let's lock that in.
So what was the trade? Was it 35?
35 and 2 additional seconds for number 26.
And
so Denver moved back 3 or 9 spots.
And this is something we talk that's quite a bit for Denver. It'll be interesting. This is one I'm kind of interested to see who's there at 35, right? Because if it's I
mean, the name I've been calling out for weeks now is I've been told Ryan Conwell at 35 or Ryan Conwell for Denver.
Oh, interesting. So, okay. So
that's
I would like that.
Guess.
So if they get someone like that, right? Which I think one of those type of names is going to be there. We've talked about this. So I think this would be the max I would move down if I was Denver, but it saves them money. And then now you still can get, a Ryan Conwell or whoever. So, yeah.
Well, and for Tarris Reed, as an eval, right? Just talking about who Tarris Reed is as a player. Unbelievable rebounder. Just absolutely gobbles up everything around the rim. Great hands, moves his feet. He's a very versatile mover, in my opinion, in terms of you can play different coverages with him. You can show and recover. You can play a little bit more at the level. You can play drop with him defensively. Really good touch on the interior. Not a crazy vertical leaper necessarily. Can pass it. I really like the passing ability as well. The big key here is going to be, does he shoot it? There are some people out there that saw him in pre-draft workouts that I talked to that were man, he can kind of shoot it a little bit. There's something here. So that's the question, right? Does that come in for him?
I think my pitch through the process for Tarris Reed Jr. was he translates better to the NBA game than what I think just the surface level look. I think people just saw him play post up a lot and say, oh, he's an old school 90s big that posts up. And my argument was always, can you squint a little bit and see the touch and how that translates to ball screen offense? Can you see the footwork? Can you see the passing out of double teams and how that all actually does still apply to what the NBA game was? And that's why I ended up as high on him as I did, is because I can see how that translates. And I just think the defense is pretty good, Sam. He's not what you would call switchable, but if you watch a UConn game, they had him playing everything from drop to at the level to hard hedge and recover. And if you're going to hard hedge and recover, you can move a little bit and at his size, right? I think it's 9'2" standing reach and 260 pounds or whatever he is. So, that's why I ended up pretty high on him as of the bigs in this range. And this is interesting for San Antonio, right? I think you got 2 pretty good bigs with these picks. And you just you're not going to get outsized if you're the Spurs. So
Celtics up here at 27. I'm fascinated to see what they do. Like, I feel like Koa Peat's not really a guy for them because of the lack of shooting, and they really want that. I mean, like I've been kind of so like Cenac is a guy that we kind of talked about as somebody's going to have to go up and get him because there aren't many great fits for Cenac, right? You know, a guy that could potentially step away and shoot is a big, like could be an interesting developmental project for the Celtics, I think. Isaiah Evans could obviously shoot as well. Like that could be an interesting name as, you know, two guys left in the green room. Like I think that there are opportunities here that could be interesting for them.
Can I just say something as well? Like we ended up with Cenac out of our first round last night. And in fairness to you, you said you didn't think that was going to happen, and it still may not, right? Like he very well may go here.
It hasn't happened for what it's worth. He has been selected by the Boston Celtics.
All I was going to say, though, was like, you know, I think we were closer than what some mocks had in terms of Cenac, in terms of the range for him. This is a name we brought up the last couple mocks we did. Now, to your point, you were like, you know, the defensive stuff might kind of drive Missoula crazy. My thought was offensively, they could just buy into the potential in terms of his skill, maybe being able to space the floor and those type of things.
Yeah. So what I like most about Cenac is that he is a great rebounder. Like he really goes up and crashes the glass, right? Like he tries very hard to do that. In theory, you can see him being a shooter. Like in theory, you can see that developing. And I'm sure that's what Boston is really going to lean into here. And I think they're going to lean into like maxing out his ability to knock down shots from distance, particularly. He seems to like to take mid-range jumpers. I would guess that Joe Mazzulla is going to be like, cut that shit, step back behind the 3-point line, man. Like that's going to be the move. But man, like, I mean, looks the part. Like you see him in person. It's like, he is a jacked, like 240 pounds and with a like 9'3" standing reach. He needed to go somewhere that will develop him. And I think Boston will develop him. And I'm hopeful that this goes well.
Yeah. So to me, I wonder what it means for the Celtics, like where they feel like the center rotation is going into, because I don't think Cenac answers any questions for them next year, I guess is my thing. And so I think development will be good there. I think they'll develop him the right way, all of that. It just, I do think it's going to take some development. So it makes me wonder where they're at on their center rotation and what it's going to end up being, because it's not a guy like Tarris Reed or Zuby or whatever that I think is going to be able to come in as a rookie and at least give you 10 or 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think all that's right. They just need to kind of go get somebody that, you know, can play now. Right. And we'll see what happens with Jaylen Brown. That's like the biggest piece of this, right? Like we have no idea what's happening there. Is this a bad sign for Amari Williams? Someone asked. I mean, Cenac's just like way more talented than Amari Williams. Amari Williams is probably a better basketball player than Cenac right now, but I would prioritize Cenac's development over Amari Williams just because Amari is like a little bit more limited in terms of movement and everything. Man, it's interesting. So now we got Brooklyn on the clock. Man, I would just take Koa Peat if I'm Brooklyn as like a pure talent play, but we'll see if they're, you know, gonna do something like that.
I would take P or Jefferson if I'm Brooklyn. Like I would just, well, I guess I forget the trade they just made. I don't know what the long-term plan is there, I guess. So,
yeah, I mean, they have Julius Randle. So like, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're looking at the 4 like we're thinking they should, but
I mean,
they need more bodies though. Like, you know, Danny Wolf is like big, but I would want guys who are big and can like dribble and pass and, you know, play with the ball in their hands a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So we go Nets, Cavaliers, Mavericks. P. Jefferson. Who's the next player on your board? Who's left after those two guys? Who would be next?
Who is
Richie?
Left on my board? So Pete and Jefferson are the last two in my little tier here. It'd be Richie Saunders and Vasar are my only players left in my top 30. So look, like we've gone 26 for 27 of the top 30 so far. And then De La Rey is the only one at 32. So we are, we're rolling here. We're doing pretty well. And look, like this is the thing in this draft, right? Like there was a group of 35 names realistically. Right. And if you didn't have one of those 35 picks at the top, probably is going to be a little bit more complicated.
Yeah. I felt pretty good that my top 35, like a name outside my top 35 wasn't going to get selected tonight. Like I felt pretty good about that. Like we'll see how I'm actually even though I won't be here with you tomorrow night, I am interested to see how the second round goes. If the names I think should go early in the second round are the names that go early, or if some other names sneak in there. And we know the second round can get a little bit different because you can kind of navigate your way to teams you want based on different things.
Totally.
And I'm really interested to see, like, we'll find out here over the next few, like who the best names are and then what that looks like at 31, 32, 33, and if there's any movement for those.
I am going to be interested to see in these last 3 picks like I've gotten like over the night a couple of text messages like, hey, a couple of teams are trying to get in here, right? I'll be interested to see if these picks stay where they are, I guess is where I'm at, especially given that Minnesota seems to be, or not Minnesota, rather Brooklyn seems to be taking some time here. The pick is in though for Brooklyn, and they could use more youth and interesting players, couldn't they? Right?
Yeah. Just throw another first round pick into the mix.
Just throw another one in. Let's go nuts. Let's go crazy. Let's see here. Oh, we still nothing. The pick is in. ESPN finishing the conversation.
I will say this. I just looked up at the little timer. I'm sure the audience doesn't see it, but we can. 3.5 hours have flown by, Sam. Like
they really have. Yeah.
I'm being completely like genuine here. Like sometimes we do episodes that go an hour and 45, 2 hours. It's like, man, that,
and I'm really, like wiped by the end. Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to be exhausted by the end of this, but it really did go really. I hope the audience agrees. Like I hope they've enjoyed it and appreciated it. And I know we appreciate them, but all of a sudden I looked up, I was like, oh shoot, it's 10:15 my time. We've been on here for 3.5 straight hours. This has gone really well.
I will say I would like this pick to come in like ESPN. We know who's available. If the pick is in, let's just like do this, guys.
I would like to go eat supper. I haven't eaten supper yet. So like if we can go ahead and get these 3, talk about second rounds and give some takeaways, I wouldn't hate it. So
yeah. All right. Who do we got here? Adam Silver. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Your guy?
Joshua Jefferson.
I like it.
Lock it in, baby. Let's go. We got 1 player left in my little tier here. In Koa Peat. If all of those top 25 guys go, like that's the main thing that really matters to me. And I don't really care if Koa Peat gets drafted or not tonight. But Joshua Jefferson, one of my favorites, a guy that I probably had higher than most in the public sphere, 23rd overall. Just an absolutely awesome basketball brain. Big time dribble, pass, shoot. Potential to shoot, maybe more so than shoot. I wrote in the draft guide that like he's almost like a cross between Oso Ighodaro and Kyle Anderson to me, where it's like kind of slow-mo-y like Kyle Anderson, right? But then really makes quick decisions like with the ball rapidly like Oso Ighodaro was, where he just moves it incredibly quickly, right? Just a super high basketball IQ guy, averaged 5 assists per game this season versus only 2.5 turnovers. Got to the line a ton, super strong and physical at 6'8", with a 245-pound frame. He is probably the best passing like big or forward in the class, even above like Cam Boozer to me. He doesn't have the ability to weaponize his passing ability in the same way that Boozer does. But in terms of pure vision, like Boozer's going to average more assists than he does. But in terms of like pure vision and just like making quick reads, I would say that Joshua Jefferson is my guy in this class among the bigger players.
Yeah, I mean, I'll honestly say I came around a little bit more on Jefferson here late. It was a name that a lot of Pistons fans liked, even at 21. And so, like, as I would push back saying that was too high for me, some of the things I got in return from you, from other people, I was like, okay, that's fair. Like I tried to argue there wasn't an elite skill. And your response was, well, how quickly he processes the game is his elite skill, right?
Totally.
And I think as long as the jumper hits a certain threshold, Sam, all of these other things are going to be able to be highlighted. I think that's my worry is like, if he's not a good enough 3-point shooter, then how much does the passing end up mattering? How much does his ability off the dribble end up mattering? But if it does hit that threshold, I think he's going to be a rotation player in this league. And I think the defensive versatility isn't maybe as good as some people talk about it, but I think he is going to be a good defender. I think he's another player that has really active and accurate hands. And I've said this multiple times. I just respect that Iowa State program so much. I really believe like he's going to come in and know how to play defense and make rotations and communicate and really compete. So I like adding this to a Nets roster that is young. And I know he's a rookie, but a guy that's a little bit older. And I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, strongly agree with all this, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his game. And look, like, we'll have to adjust a little bit to the athleticism level. The big thing for him is going to be that he has to shoot it, right? He's going to have to shoot from three, I think, to really stick at the NBA level. But there's a lot of gifts here, a lot of talent. I will say, like, someone brings up a comment here in the YouTube comments, like the Pelicans couldn't get in. I'm like a little bit surprised with the fact that they couldn't get in to go get Chris Cenac, given that Cenac fell in the way that he did.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised because that was what Celtics at 27. Yeah. What do they have? They have a late second though. So they couldn't like using that. Maybe they weren't as aggressive.
Could have been like, it could have just been like smoke and mirrors that they were trying to get in, or maybe it was just Ament. Like Ament's the only one they like really wanted. And they were like, yeah, we kind of are interested. Yeah. Okay. So Sacramento's moving into 29.
Yep.
It looks like, according to Jake Fisher. I'm going to guess this is Alex Karaban for what it's worth.
Okay.
That's going to be my guess here on this, that this will be Karaban at 29.
And so this will be Cleveland moving out to most likely 34. So this will probably be another, 34 for 29 in a couple seconds, most likely.
I would assume that it's going to look something like that. Yeah. Maybe even just like 1 second or something like that. But I'm going to guess this is Karaban at 29.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've just been super connected with him the whole way throughout the process. Like that, they've been the team that really wants him. And honestly, I love this draft for the Kings. Like this is so my shit. Like let's go get winners. Like I think Darius Acuff is a winner. I think that dude's a competitor and he wants it. Like we'll find out if like his game translates to winning. Like there's some aspects defensively he's going to have to improve. But man, I think that dude is tough, and I think Karaban is an absolute winner. And I am all about it if they take him here.
Yeah, this is the range. I had him top 35. I probably wouldn't take him first round, but like we're at pick 29. Like, I mean, it's
I'll say this
reasonable.
though, like for them, where they need connective players more than anything in the world. Like think about who's on that roster. Like he's going to play real minutes for them this year, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause they need guys who can like make quick decisions, move the ball around the perimeter, make sure that like things are rolling smoothly with Acuff and with Keegan Murray as he comes back and with Reynaud and Sabonis and guys like that. Like they need guys who make quick decisions and who can shoot. And I think Karaban can absolutely do that off the bench for them this year.
Yeah. It looks like, I think according to Shams, it's just like a single future first.
Not future second, I would assume.
Sorry. Yeah, second. Sorry.
29 for 34 in a second. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
this
great job by Sacramento here.
Yeah, Marks had it saves Cleveland. Sorry, saves Cleveland a little bit of money as well. Like another team where this matters in terms of going from what the rookie scale on pick 29 compared to what a second round pick would be, and they're still in this top 35 range with this trade back.
Yeah. So yeah, they'll save 1.65 million in salary and God knows what in luxury tax payments. I would guess 4 times that. So this deal probably saves them $5 million. And yeah, Karaban's the pick. Yeah, just had been super connected with them throughout the process. And then the Suns are trading in at number 30, according to Jake Fisher. I'm going to guess that's for Koa Peat, for what it's worth, at number 30.
So Karaban to the Sacramento Kings. And that would
Karaban to the Kings.
Yeah, I'm trying to update all my board and all the stuff on my end.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, Jake is saying, I believe the Suns are trading into number 30. If the Suns trade in, I'm going to say it's Koa Peat. I've been kind of floated that a couple of times throughout the night by people. I would assume that will be what it is. We will find out if that's what it is.
And that would...
Have we lost Bryce?
Have we? I'm here.
No, you're back. Here we go. Okay, you froze. What did you say?
I just said that Phoenix had 47. So I wonder if that would be to me, that seems like less of a pick swap situation and more of Phoenix just coming in to 30. I mean, 47 could be involved, but be interesting to see what they have to give up.
Do they have a ton of seconds either?
Well, they gave up all those seconds last year to go get Rasheer Fleming at 31. So
yeah, Bryce, keep talking because oh no, Shams is just giving away his takeaways. I thought we were going to get some sort of actual trade info. Apologies. Yeah, we'll see if this ends up being Pete at 30. That I'd been told a couple of times throughout the night that the Suns were kind of trying to get in for Koa Peat. And yeah, according to Jake Fisher, Phoenix is trading with Dallas to select Arizona product Koa Peat. So Koa Peat goes 30. There we go.
Okay. For me, that pick there kind of saves all of my top 27, and every pick was in the top 35. Yep.
So we've got all of my top 25 gone. Only top 30 guys remaining, Richie Saunders and Henri Vesar at 26 and 29. Mock draft wise for me, I believe that the only player who went or who didn't get picked that I had here was, no, I went 28 for 30 because I had Vesar at 29. So I had Evans and Vesar getting picked in the first, and Evans is still available, as is Vesar, instead of Joshua Jefferson and Alex Karaban at number 34 there. But I nailed the team with Karaban in the second round because, yeah, that had been out there for quite a while. Here we go. Adam Silver out there.
I mean, Koa Peat's your guy. That? I know we've mentioned Koa Peat multiple times, but what's the Koa Peat fit or what's the Koa Peat pitch? And then how do you feel about him with the Phoenix Suns in that roster?
I feel great about it, to be honest. I think he's just an ass kicker is the answer. Koa Peat is a guy that is super strong. He's super physical and he's a winner. And he fits the Suns mentality that they're trying to build to a T.
Sure.
This is an organization that is trying to find guys who are competitive and who can really help you win basketball games. And Koa Peat, he just morphs his role to whatever is required. You watched him in AAU, he would break down guys off the bounce and score. You watched him in Team USA settings. He would be a screen setter and would go and, play next to AJ Dybantsa and Mikel Brown and would have no issues playing in the mid post at times. Right. You look at what he did at Arizona this year. He kind of blended those roles together. You know what I mean? He had no problem, oh man, Tommy Lloyd is on TV right now. I can tell by that bemused look on his face that he is somewhat irritated that Koa Peat's not going back to Arizona to go be the 30th overall pick. Yeah, he has that like look on his face where he's smiling because I think he sees that he probably knows that he has cameras on him, but
he's on TV.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but we'll find out. Yeah, look, like a guy that just can kind of blend his game to whatever was required. And I thought he got way better on defense this year. Like I thought he was really useful for them, guarding at the point of attack, can certainly really wall up and hold off, at the cutoff point and be able to handle things that way. I think he's a really just a guy that's going to win basketball games at the end of the day. Like I'm a believer in Koa Peat. I'll take my chances on that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think at 30, it's a great pick. We'll see what they gave up to acquire the pick, I guess. Like that might change my tune a little bit, assuming it's nothing crazy. But yeah, I think defensively, the physicality plays with all of that. We'll see if the jumper ever gets there or not. So best players available going into tomorrow: Richie Saunders, Henri Vesar, Isaiah Evans. I know you're a little bit lower on Malik Thomas. That's a name some people would bring up. Emmanuel Sharp, Brayden Smith. Anybody else?
Yeah. No, I think that's all right. So Richie Saunders, best player available, 26, but recovering from an ACL injury. Did not expect him to get taken tonight. Henri Vesar at 29 for me. Malik Thomas at 31. Sharp at 33. Isaiah Evans at 35. Yeah, I mean, people are going to be surprised by Evans. I think the NBA set that kid up to fail by inviting him to the green room. I did not get that feedback throughout the process where he was a locked in top 25 guy. And I'm surprised by the fact that they asked him to the green room.
Yeah.
And I feel a little bit for him at this point. Yeah, I mean, then it's Malik Brown, Bruce Thornton, Brayden Smith for me. And it's into the two-way zone really quickly tomorrow. So, yeah, I mean, nobody outside of our top 34 goes, right? And there are 30 picks.
35 for me. But yeah.
Yeah.
In the top of the second round tomorrow, for what it's worth, is Knicks, Grizzlies, Wolves, Cavaliers, Nuggets. That's three teams. 33, 34, 35. Those are all picks that got traded, those teams traded out at the end of the first. Different deals, different reasons. Obviously, the Minnesota Brooklyn one was the Julius Randle, Nick Claxton, Chicago Bull one. But we saw Cleveland and Denver trade out here at the end of the night. New York's had that pick 31.
The Dallas trading out, we have a price tag. 47 and 2 future seconds.
Wow. Okay.
For number
reasonable.
30.
Very reasonable.
Very reasonable price to go in and get one of the 5 guys remaining on the board that is worth a guaranteed contract.
They weren't getting anything close to that at 47. Nothing close to that. So,
not joking, the Suns are going to be one of my winners. When I write about the draft tonight, I'm going to be like, you gave up 47 and 2 second-round picks to go get the guy ranked 16th on my board. That's a win. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. Nice.
Pretty awesome. Any winners for you? Who stands out in terms of who did well for you here?
I like the Bulls with Caleb Wilson and Dalen Swain. I there's a chance it doesn't end up great, but right now, just kind of the upside of that. I like that. I like the Bucks. I do like what the Bucks did. I like what the Bucks did, taking Burries at 10, and then taking a little bit more of the swing on Nate Ament.
Okay, so Shams is reporting a confusing trade here, so give me a second. So where the players are going here is interesting. So New York has traded number 25, which was Sergio De La Rey, to Dallas for number 30, which was Koa Peat, and 2 second rounders. So New York getting 2 second rounders with Koa Peat, right? Then the Knicks traded Pete to the Suns for number 47 in 3 second rounders. So wait, I'm trying to do the math here. So is that 5 second rounders? Or is that 3 second rounders? Because Shams is saying pick up 3 seconds in cash by moving out of the first round by the Knicks. But Sergio De La Rey is going to Dallas, first and foremost. That's the key here.
Okay.
But the Knicks traded De La Rey for 30 and 2 seconds. And then the Knicks traded 30 to the Suns for 3 seconds. So I'm saying that the Knicks moved out of the first round and picked up 5 seconds, not 3 seconds, based off the way Shams has reported that. But he's saying 3. I don't know. We'll find out about all of this. I mean, if the Knicks picked up 5 seconds to move out of the first round, that's probably a pretty good deal for them, I would say.
And they still have 31, like and that's why they can do this. Yeah. And I think one of those seconds is 47 based off prior understanding of how the trades went, which again, they're not going to get, one of these names we're talking about, but they are going to get one of them. They have their pick here at 31. Yeah. Okay. So,
and to confirm, Koa Peat is going to the Suns. That is real. Like, the key here is that De La Rey is the name going to the Mavericks, it looks like.
Okay, so the Knicks, so they went from 24 to 25 for cash.
Yep.
25 to 30 for 3 second rounders.
Looks like, according to Shams, 2 second rounders.
2 second rounders, and then they went from 30 to 47 plus a couple more second rounders. So 5 second rounders counting 47.
Correct. And cash from the Lakers.
And cash. Very important.
Okay.
So I think they're doing okay with cash after that NBA Finals run.
I think they're probably doing okay too. So the Mavericks get Sergio De La Rey, the Suns get Koa Peat, the Knicks get 5 seconds, it looks like.
Perfect. That's why they took so long on the clock at that pick. And
Congrats to the Knicks.
It took 45 more minutes to figure out exactly what the trade was.
Yeah. Which look like, honestly, for a Knicks team that will be contending next year, like just having multiple assets to trade sometimes is like really valuable, even if they're like second round picks. So I think this is pretty good.
Here's what I will say. Excuse you. Is like 5 second round picks. Like, we saw what second round picks can do for you tonight, right? Like they help teams move around the board. Detroit moved up, what was it, 4 or 5 spots with a couple second round picks. Like, so this is one thing I was interested in, is like, were you going to be able to move around the board with second round picks? And we saw Detroit do that, we saw teams do that with second round picks. So for New York, picking up that's not nothing in terms of movement in the future.
Yep. Agree. So, okay. Other winners. Apologies for interrupting.
No, I think I just told you, excuse you, when I meant to say bless you, and you didn't even sneeze. Like 4 hours is probably the max, Sam. Like,
I think we got to go. By the way, I have to record Athletic NBA show after this. So yeah, that's where I'm at on my day. And then I have to write winners and losers after this. So, things are going great here, Bryce.
The Thunder can jump out at me, Sam. Like Mara and Sturts, for some reason, are jumping out to me as I like that.
Well.
Yeah. I do like the Kings. They ended up with Acuff. I think Karaban there is a nice pick. I need to sleep
Acuff and Karaban, I think, is really good together. I think that's an excellent duo.
I need to sleep on the Spurs thing, because that was just the initial of Quaintance and Tarris Reed Jr. is I'm trying to wasn't something on my bingo card. But it's I may end up really liking that, but I want to sleep on that one before I straight up go there.
Oh, Johnny Hollinger just killing me. Did not like the Koa Peat pick. Unbelievable. Oh, Johnny. I love Hollinger. Hollinger is one of my favorite human beings that works in basketball. He's just truly the best.
Yeah. So like there's some other, like the some of the other ones, like the Nets, I like the Joshua Jefferson pick, but I would have taken Acuff over Michael Brown. Grizzlies, obviously with Boozer, but I don't love the Lopez pick as much, even though I like the process of where they ended up taking it. Excuse me. You know which one I might end up really liking is Phylon to the Sixers. That might end up being one.
I think it's a good pick.
Think about it.
Yeah,
I think
it's a really good pick.
So,
yeah. So Shams is adjusted again, saying it is 5 seconds. It's not 3 seconds somewhere. He has picked up 5 seconds. And yeah, John, it's funny. Hollinger has Karim Lopez at 12 and Koa Peat at 37, and I've Koa Peat at 16 and Karim at 24. Yeah, John and I just disagree. John's the best. Like, we disagree all the time, and we just like love it. We always like make jokes about it together. Like, he texted me. He was like, "You are gonna hate where I have Koa Peat," and I'm just like, "Yeah, you know, it is what it is." I expected you to hate Koa Peat. Like, the thing that really stunned me that he had was Steinbach and Morez below Ament was what stunned me. I was like, "Oh wow,
wow." Interesting.
That's very anti-Hollinger to me. I love genuinely. John is exceptional at his job, and I truly love him to death. Okay, Bryce, I think we're gonna do like a bigger winners and losers thing and bigger draft thing over the weekend, like on Friday or Saturday or something like that. So let's cut it here. I will be back tomorrow with a special guest that will be a surprise that I'm really excited about. I love this human being as much as I love John Hollinger. So I am really, really pumped to have him on for the second round for the 2 hours that the second round will be. I appreciate everyone for coming through here. We had an amazing
It was incredible
group of people behind this. Thank you all so much for being here. I think like 20,000 of you have come through watching this. We appreciate it immensely. Every single time that we do these, it feels like it gets bigger every year. So appreciative of everyone that comes through. Please go hit the subscribe button. It really helps us grow on this channel. Game Theory Podcast with Sam Vecenie on YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify, we appreciate it immensely. And yeah, I'm sure Andrew will have timestamps up. I don't know what happened there with the Fanatics logo, but that's coming off. We appreciate everybody for coming through here. Thank you so much for being here. And that's it. Bryce, tell the people where they can find your work. Tell the people what's going on.
Yeah, Motor City Hoops on Twitter, Blue Sky, Motor City Hoops Substack, but more importantly right now, the Game Theory Substack. I've mentioned it a few times throughout the live. Go check it out. I promise you it is some of the best video content over the NBA draft that you can find. Countless video breakdowns on a lot of these prospects. We will also have a draft show, I'm sure, coming out sometime later this week over there as well. So if you liked any of this, if you liked all of this, if you say, like, I promise you, you're going to like that content, and can't thank you all enough. Like, truly, it is cool to just go over to YouTube and see how many live viewers. And I truly like end up bragging to my wife, like, you know, you can't believe how many people we have watching us live right now. So it is really cool. Appreciate it. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for a second round. Again, I won't be here. Wasn't very good with my double booking on that one, but defensive coordinator duties call for the high school football team. So I will be doing that, but you guys will be in great hands with Sam and the guests. So thank you guys all for tuning in.
Go to The Athletic. I will have so many words up, guys. It's really going to be an unconscionably large number of words. Analysis on every pick from John and I. We'll have winners and losers up at some point later. Have the live blog, which I know that people have been using my words and typing, and like I've contributed a couple times while we've been recording, but appreciate everybody that has come through here. Again, the draft's not over, boys and girls. We got all this. We're coming through. We're going to have a great time in the second round tomorrow. Please join and hang out while we talk about second round picks. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye.